Just up the line. Hello. Come back on him.
That was incredible. Dude, nobody better. Nobody. Hell yeah, guys.
You know, I call it NWP because it rhymes with Grug. How's it going, everybody? Welcome into NWP. Post Nashville, we're all in our own boxes this week.
I hate it.
Back in the box.
Oh, damn.
Although I do have a little more leg room. I'm not slamming my legs under this table, so that is a plus.
That's very true. You kept bugging me the whole time. Bum, 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 bum.
Yeah, sorry. That was.
I do have to ask, does this make us all the man in the box?
I guess so. I feel like a mime, but like I don't have to imagine because I actually am in the box.
Most mimes are usually tall and slender, so yeah, you got the right build.
But I talk a lot, and most mimes are. I can't do that for very long.
Well, I mean, yeah, you can. Just keep talking.
Are you gonna?
There we go.
Let's just turn into around the horn. Just put me in timeout.
Oh man, if we could have the points in that from around the horn back in the day, that'd be amazing.
That would be hilarious.
I already see someone in the chat. Nick says he can't wait for me and Eric to fumble the random driver segment again.
No, not this week. Not 4 weeks in a row. 3? Wait, have we failed 2 or 3 weeks in a row?
3 weeks in a row.
Oh my god! Yeah, there's no 4-peat happening tonight.
Well, we'll find out. I mean, it's been hard to get 4-peats this year in NASCAR, but we'll find out. But before we get to the fun segments, I think we should talk about the Nashville weekend, a fun weekend for a couple of drivers, namely Ryan Blaney to start out with.
Yeah,
damn good win.
Finally closes the deal. I meant to pull this up. Let's see. He is 3rd right now in stage points collected this season. But this was his first win of the year. He has 5 DNFs. Feels like it's been a lot of bad luck or random mechanical failures that have taken him out of races he could have won, or a bad pit stop at Darlington that cost him a win there. He has been so darn fast and has just never been able to punch his ticket officially. But we also know Blaney's really good on the long run, and this race played to his strengths. I think it ended with like a 90-lap green flag run, something like that. When he cycled to like a 7-second lead after that final cycle of green flag pit stops, I'm like, it's over. He gave some of that lead back on the short run because, you know, he's not short run Ryan, he's long run Ryan. But the fact that he had the clean air and had the green flag laps ticking away, like it was his race to lose, and finally they capitalized.
Yeah, Danny, so you guys both were there, right? Okay. So I was back home with the child. Danny, what did you see this week from Blaney? Because I mean, I think we've all been talking all this year about how fast he is and how much, like Eric was saying, he's, you know, something gets in the way or a DNF or whatever, and he's not able to close out. But I mean, that was damn near the most dominant I think we've seen in the next gen era at Nashville in a while, if ever.
Well, first of all, what a turnaround from last year. Went from exposing how not up to date Nashville Super Speedway still is. I don't think they did anything to change that. But, you know, it went from what happened last year to this year, which in a way we kind of saw the perfect transition from what we were seeing in most of the Coke 600 into this week. Even though Ross Chastain won the Coke 600, it was mainly dominated by William Byron and Denny Hamlin. This race was mainly dominated by Denny Hamlin at the start. And just when it looked that William Byron was going to get up there and take the lead away from Denny Hamlin and go back and get his win, it got away from it, Charlotte. In comes Ryan Blaney and says, nope, get out of the way. It's not your show this week. It's my show. So what a great sequence that was when it went from Hamlin led to Byron led to Blaney leads and continues to go on and win the Cracker Barrel 400.
Yeah, and he has what, 5 DNFs already this year? Blaney, I should say. I mean,
tied for the series lead.
He's right up there with Kyle Larson. If he's not winning, he's wrecking.
Yeah, I mean, and he's had the speed. I mean, think back to like the Homestead race when they blew up and
Yeah.
he had the speed to compete up there. So I think that Ryan Blaney now, without that kind of, I don't know if pressure's the right word, because I don't really think they were feeling too much pressure with how good they were running outside of those, but just to get that monkey off his back a little bit. I just saying, this year in general, Penske has been so much stronger than last year to this point.
All 4 Penske cars, if you include the Wood brothers, have wins, and
Mm.
we're 14 races into the season.
Jeez.
I mean, that's such a, at this point last year, I think, did Blaney have a win by this point last year? When was Blaney's first win last season?
Was it Iowa?
Was it Iowa that late? Who was the first Penske car to win last year? Was it Logano at Nashville?
No,
So
Cindric at Gateway.
Was that before Nashville last year?
Yeah, it was the same weekend.
Yeah.
So that's at this point last season, Penske had 0 wins. Now they have 4. It's evenly spread across the board. This is big for Blaney too, because like he was going to make the playoffs even without a win. Like he has collected so many points. I think that was a shoo-in, but that's 5 playoff. Well, actually 6, because he won a stage in this race as well. That's 6 playoff points tonight. He had only 2 playoff points entering that race, 2 stage wins. Now he just quadrupled it in one night. And like that, and that's important because, you know, and this is not including playoff points that you might get for where you finish in points at the end of the regular season. But just so far, you know, Byron has 11, Larson and Bell with 3 wins apiece have 23 and 16. So like Blaney trying to keep up with these guys, he expects to be part of that championship 4 at the end of the year. And if you don't have a good number of playoff points, that path gets a lot harder. So that's why this win, any win for Blaney at this point, extremely important.
Something funny I just want to point out in the chat. Duke Chronic in the chat said Larson had his first bad race in this one. And the thing is, it feels that way because I remember quote tweeting Jarrett's picks tweet at some point in the night. Said if you want someone to do bad, just tell me to pick them because I'm sure doing a good job with them. He did have a majority awful race, but he still finished 8th place at the end of this thing. He's still got a top 10. And he's probably got the best average finish of any driver at Nashville still.
Yeah, that's it. That's crazy that like as a team, they fired off bad on Saturday, qualified bad. Pit crew made a mistake. Larson got, you know, bottled up at the beginning, kept getting put back. And when it was seemingly impossible to pass, he still finished 8th. Like this was such a rough weekend for Larson, but they still had a good finish. It says a lot for sure.
That sounds like Kyle Busch back in the day in the Xfinity series when it was the nationwide series. Like, oh, you had a horrible day. Where'd he finish? 8th. Still pretty damn good run. I mean, all things considered, that's the crazy part.
No, who had a horrible day, horrible 2 weeks is his teammate Bowman.
Yeah, what's Alex Bowman doing, Danny? I mean, he's just throwing the season away. I'm just being honest. Like, what's he doing? For real, they're finding every way possible to just have terrible races now. I just feel like, you know, the pit crews had a couple bad moments this year. I think of Texas, notably. I feel like Bowman was top 5. Pit crew set him back on a bad pit stop, and then he got caught up in a wreck. Like that one was bad luck, but also you put some of it on the pit crew. But like Bowman's just hitting the wall, spinning himself out. I don't know. Like
all of us Bowman fans are doing that thing where we, you know, the Homer Simpson meme, go into the bush and we're coming out with like a host of our shirt on.
Well, and that's the crazy thing is like, so I think speed wise, the 48's been for the most part fine this year. It's just those dumb errors that keep coming up. Yeah. And, you know, I pointed out as we went by, you know, plus 39 is pretty good. 14th, still pretty good. But then you kind of look at the rest of this group that's behind him. You look at the schedule coming up too. I mean, Mexico City and Chicago immediately, you got to think the SVG is going to be in there. A lot of people have been hyping up Suarez for Mexico as well, you know, with his hometown track, having that extra motivation.
No, 14th is not safe. Like if you ask me, Bowman right now is actually 16th. That's the way I would feel if I was an Alex Bowman fan, considering there will probably be 1 or 2 surprise winners.
Who's actually 16th is surprising. It's actually Kyle Busch. I couldn't believe it until I looked at it.
He's hanging in there.
Was it Daniel Cespedes, I think is his name, that put out that like nobody to this point of the year has like pointed their way in if they have less than 300 points at this point of the season. I saw that statistic on X from a few different accounts. It might've been him, might've been another one. Somebody in the chat might know better, but I believe Bowman's under that right now.
He's at 334 points on the year. Okay. Chris Buescher's the first one below 300. He's at 297. And I think Buescher and Busch would both be in the playoffs if they started today.
So, okay. So, I mean, points wise, then he's not terrible. I think it's just, we have not had, because I guess you could count Josh Berry, but when you look at how good the Penske fleet in general has been, like, is he really count as that much of an upset anymore?
Upset, maybe not. Surprise. I don't think any of us had him making the playoffs. And I bet if you polled the majority of fan preseason brackets, Barry would not have made the playoffs this year. So I'd consider it a mild surprise, but I think we'll still see one or two more surprises with all the road courses and still 2 more super speedways. Like, we will see at least 1, maybe 2 more quote unquote surprise. And when I say surprise, like SVG at Chicago wouldn't be a surprise, but that would be like a playoff surprise, I guess.
We're really due for a race to end early, and it won't probably happen this weekend, but a rain race that is total strategy kerfuffle, and somebody like Zane Smith ends up winning because he ran 11th all day.
Good point.
We're so due for, when's the last time we've had a race like that? Because like we had New Hampshire last year that they raced in the rain, but I don't think
Nashville last summer was ridiculous, obviously, and then
but they raced to the end.
Yeah, I guess Chicago was rain shortened. That I think, I don't know that saved Bowman's race, if I recall, but it definitely tweaked the strategy at the end with Chicago being rain shortened or darkness shortened, I guess.
He was racing, I think, for a stage with like Davidson or somebody like that, wasn't he? Or one of those drivers that came over just for the street race?
I don't remember. And I was there. I should remember. I just remember Reddick running him down at the end and then clipping the inside wall, which you just don't see very often. It's because it was a rare right-hand turn.
Is GN NASCAR fan here, right? Where's it at? We're just a comment go. Atlanta summer 2023. Was that the last rain out win we saw?
No, the Coke 600.
Or 600. See, that's the thing. I don't remember it. That wasn't even rain. It was just Fox calling it.
It was Fox got bored. Fox got tired.
They're like, nah, I don't really feel like it.
But it's not in our notes, but I before we move on too far, you did a video kind of in this vein, Jarrett, but who do you feel, let me put it this way, Chase Elliott's going to make the playoffs no matter what, even if he doesn't win. He has so many points because he's finished top 20 every week. He doesn't wreck, knock on wood. But who are you feeling? What am I trying to say? I guess the question is, who is the 4th Hendrick car right now? Do you think it's Chase Elliott or Alex Bowman? Because obviously Byron and Larson are leading the points winning races.
It's still Bowman.
Joey Hand, that was the one, by the way.
Shout out Joey Hand.
So here's the thing that it's hard for me to see, because like props to Grant from Auto Racing Analytics. Every week I watch the little graphs of the teams and the comparisons he makes. Yeah. And analytically, it's Chase Elliott, which is the crazy thing. I test with the mistakes. It doesn't seem as much like Elliott. Like that team, the thing with Chase Elliott, and I brought it up in my video, is that Chase Elliott he's in purgatory right now. Like, that's the best way I can put it. Like, he is good enough to compete and be a competitive team. And maybe every now and then he'll pop up and get a win. I mean, in the last, I think it's 80 races or whatever. It's 84 races. I think it's been, he has 1 win, which is kind of crazy to think about when you think of the start of 2022. But other than after that race win at Talladega that we are all at in 2022, he's had 1 win. The problem is that he is so much better than the insanely low bar for a good driver to make the chase. Like, he's going to be in there, but let's be honest. Like, if he's competing in the round of 8, he's probably a bunch of points back and he has to win at the end, kind of like last year. And the way I kind of put it, and I know people that are in the chat that are rivals of mine will laugh at this. He's the Minnesota Vikings. He is good enough to compete, but not good enough to win.
So
he'll get in the wild card, but he'll lose.
Yeah, at this rate, I'd be a little surprised even if he gets out of the round of 12. Although, hey, he's his worst finish this year is 20th. He's getting top 10s almost every week. So it's just
his basement is not that low.
That's my thing. So when we compare Elliott and Bowman, they have the same number of top 10s this year, but Bowman has more laps led, but Elliott has way more stage points than Bowman. I think Elliott is far more consistent than Bowman, but and this is where I'm a little concerned with Chase is I think right now he has the lowest ceiling of the 4 Hendrick cars.
Yes.
Alex Bowman has almost won Homestead straight up. the only guy who beat him was Kyle Larson at the end of that race. And that, that's to be expected at Homestead.
Chase is like 5th to 15th. That's
yeah, he's at most weeks. A good week for Chase is like 7th. Like that's kind of what you expect at this point. Like he's just, and I don't know what it is. At some point, I think you're not firing Chase Elliott. He's the most popular driver in the sport. He's won a championship, but they got to shake something up there. Either whether it's the Monday through Friday process, it's how they approach the sim. Is it a crew chief change? That's also hard because Alan Gustafson's a champion and is a vet and has worked with some of the greats in NASCAR history. Like, but something's got to change because right now, like Chase Elliott's ceiling is the lowest. Bowman, if he doesn't wipe out or if the pit crew doesn't blow it, he's going to run top 5 most weeks. But Chase Elliott, he's lucky to run top 5 if they do everything perfectly.
A couple other races that have come to my mind for Bowman. The Bristol race earlier this year, he sat on the pole for that one. Larson did win it, but he was consistently up there in like the top 3 until ran into an issue that just stepped on their own foot again.
No, that was a mechanical issue. Even if I recall, I don't even think that was driver making a mistake. It was that one was just totally bad luck. So that's what I mean. The ceiling of the 48. I think the 9 is the 4th car right now. I just think sometimes Bowman drives like the 4th driver, unfortunately. But
the thing is, like with Elliott,
Carson Hocevar's the fourth Hendrick car.
He's gonna replace Chase in the 9. Oh, that'll be funny if that got
the 77 is like what the 09/25 was for Hendrick in 2009.
The problem right now with Chase, so this here's the thing. Chase would be great in the, ironically enough, Chase era or the Winston Cup era, like an older school, more consistency based thing, and that's why he'll be great in the regular season. It's just that like this year more than I think any in a long time, because even that year that he got injured for like 7 races and had the suspension or whatever, like he still had speed at a lot of times to at least go up there and compete. And the problem with Chase is that team can't put a full race together. They can put the beginning and middle and then falter at the end. They can suck at the start and come on at the end. But it seems like if something goes wrong for the 9 team, it cascades quickly. Where like if Allen doesn't make a good adjustment, Chase does not have great restarts. Again, credit to Grant. Chase is 31st ranked of the 36 drivers full time in restarts. Like his retention is negative 44%, which means like 44% of his restarts, he's heading backwards. And
that's a fact too. I don't have the quote pulled up, but in the media center this weekend, he acknowledged that he is struggling on restarts. So he's aware. He's aware that he needs to get better there.
The problem with that is it's not one thing. Like if it were one thing, like if it was, hey, the pit crew is messing up, kind of like how Blaney's was for a long time. Okay, then we'll just poach Spire. If it's just the restarts, okay, well we can at least have the speed to make our way back up. If it like the speed too, short and long run speed, he is 4th by a wide margin of all the Hendrick guys. I mean, it's just it's not one thing. If they fix one thing, I think it'll kind of marginally make it better. Instead of maybe 5th to 15th, he'll be like 3rd to 13th. But it's just that team is not able to get out of its own way as soon as one thing happens here or there. And that's where I say they're in purgatory. Like, do you pull the trigger and say it's leadership, it's on Allen, and you swap crew chiefs or something? The other cars aren't struggling for speed right now, so I wouldn't do that. Do you demote somebody who's been with some of the best drivers of the last 25 years? Like that's a big decision, as much as Chase fans don't want to say it.
That's the thing. Like Alan Gustafson, say what you will, not saying he's been perfect, but he's got trophies in the trophy case, I guess is one way to put it. Like this isn't a nobody that you're just letting go, that, he's run his course. He's not 75 years old where it's like, okay, you've had your time in the sun. No, this guy, I don't know how old Gustafson is, but he's still in his prime. So that's a tough call. It's a tough situation for Hendrick. I don't know what they got to do. I just brought it up because it just, we've kind of gone back and forth this year with Bowman and Elliott, and I just think they're both very different. But anyway, I just want to hear what you guys thought about that.
I'm looking back at the stats this season for Alex Bowman, and it's almost kind of that similar annotation to Kyle Larson. If his finish isn't a single digit, it's something drastic like 36, 29, 35, 37, 27, 26. The rest are all single digit numbers.
Yeah. Boom or bust. It's literally the opposite. That's what I mean. They're just,
The chat's saying it now, and I looked it up. Like Alan Gustafson's going to be 50 in August. Like by crew chief standards, he's young.
Yeah.
I think he's still, again, I don't have the statistics on me for that, but it seems like he'd be pretty young or at least normal age. So
prime years.
Yeah. Well, it should be. That's the thing with it. Somebody else who's not struggling with going up there and competing though is Ricky Stenhouse, or not Ricky Stenhouse. No, he's
definitely struggling
because of Carson Hocevar. No, I'm kidding. We'll talk about the duality of Carson Hocevar here. Let's start with the good. The last
good.
2 weeks.
I like how you do this. We like to have the good and then let's have the bad. Okay. I like this.
It's a duality of Hocevar, man. It's why we love him. There we go. That's the right way to say his name or spell his name.
My bad. No, the B is silent.
That's
so we were saying it correctly. Just got to spell it right. Yeah.
Yeah. I gave him the B in my name because I heard that B names at the start of the year were getting people good finishes. So,
well, he had a good finish. P2 on the night. Another great top 5 running night for the 77 team. And again, it's intermediates that they're kind of shining on right now, but that team is another one that is very boom or bust. I mean, if like we're immediately thinking back to Bristol, was running same times as like Denny Hamlin and Kyle Larson at the end of that race, but they have a problem and he finishes a lap down or he gets crashed when he's running top 10. That when they're able to put it together, that team is as good as any in the sport right now.
Yeah, I know the good for Hocevar obviously is he has tremendous speed and just he himself, like, yeah, I think he puts in more work than maybe, I'm not saying he never put in work, but I think he is putting in a real effort now to like study the data and try to absorb that information and apply it. But just naturally, you just put him behind the wheel of a race car, get him out there, let him feel it for a moment. He is so fast. He reminds me a lot of Kyle Larson in that respect, and that he can just get behind the wheel and go fast. You know, he can't maybe tell you every part and piece that's on that race car, but he knows how to make that thing go really, really quick. So that's the good thing is they have so much speed. He kind of talked about this weekend at Nashville. It almost seems like Spire is ahead of schedule, like based on as he understands it. Like I think they have obviously taken steps to get more competitive, and bringing McDowell over was a huge step. They hoped Rodney Childers would work out better than it did. But even said, the fact that Hocevar is up there contending for wins now and, you know, running down Hendrick and Penske and Gibbs cars late in these races is, I mean, that's a statement that I wasn't expecting them to make this early in the year, frankly.
I mean, last week, I think we talked about like, yeah, maybe Chastain just had the rocket ship at the end, but if he goes all the way, like he's probably in that conversation.
Yeah, that's the thing. You look at Hocevar's last few weeks. He was, I think, 6th at Kansas when he had a random flat tire late in that race and had to pit and finish 20-something. Then he goes the next week and wins the All-Star Open, and I think finishes 11th, I think, in the All-Star race. Then he goes to Charlotte, is running 2nd when the engine blows up, and then he finishes 2nd at Nashville. Like, that's 4 weeks in a row. Hocevar, right there, he's on the cusp.
I mean, think about that. Like those DNFs that he's running so well, like just add for, let's say, 3 races, just add 20 points back to that team.
Yeah.
And they are 4 points out right now. And you add 20 to that. Like that is absolutely a speed-wise top tier, top 12 or so team in the Cup Series.
I was chatting with a guy named Scott Cruz. He's watched us for a while at the race this weekend. After the race, we were standing by the Amazon Prime stage for a little bit, and I was telling him, I was like, you know, this sport, the one thing that remains still the same, I think, from old school NASCAR is that momentum and mentality can still be one of your best things in the sport. And I believe Hocevar did ride the momentum from Charlotte into Nashville. I think he can keep riding it. And because we don't have a lot of practice anymore, just having seat time is so key. Now, I know Berlin is nowhere near the same kind of track that Michigan is, but he did win the Money in the Bank 150. I think that's what I call it. He won that yesterday. He will be racing in the Truck Series race. That's more seat time on the track.
So I forgot to mention he won that truck race at Kansas a few weeks ago that he was in. So like, just stay hot. You're right.
He won that. Tito Brown said you could call that riding the Dente, actually. But yeah, he's going to have plenty of seat time going into this weekend. If I told him, like, if you want to keep a close eye on somebody, watch Carson, because I think if we're not manifesting a Carson Hocevar first win at his home track, it sure writes itself. He's even got a special paint scheme this weekend. The gold Ziegler car celebrating 50th anniversary, man. Like you can't write down a better storyline to manifest a first win.
So I polled the chat and 82% said yes. And I'll ask you guys now, like if I had to put you on the spot, yes or no, which way you leaning? Does he make the playoffs this year?
Yes. Me and you had him on our playoffs to start the year anyways.
That's right.
Yeah. I did not have him in. I think he's going to have to win a race because as fast as he's been, I think I could see him getting to 13th, 14th in the standings. That's kind of his ceiling. And I don't think that'll be good enough on its own to make the place. I think he's going to have to win a race. Oh, with you, Danny. The stars seem to be aligning. Michigan feels like it would be a great story this weekend if he breaks through, but I'm going to be the naysayer and I'm going to say no. I'm going to say odds are no. I think it's 65 or 55-45 no right now.
It's slim though. And I look at the races too, and I kind of think too, like, why can't he at this point? Like if they execute, that's the problem. There's such a checkers or wreckers with them, and not even checkers or wreckers just yet, but he doesn't have good reputation. And I think we're going to talk about that in a second here. So he's going to have a target on his back from people, whether it's fair or not, whether he should or not get the benefit of the doubt. But I mean, some of the races coming up, Michigan, that team's good at intermediates. He's been decent at road courses. There's 2 of those with Mexico and Chicago right off the bat, and Sonoma right after that.
Second in Atlanta earlier this year.
So
that's Echo Park you're talking about there.
So my take on that is
I just dead named Echo Park. Sorry, guys.
I think we're actually wrapping up his best stretch of races with Michigan and then Pocono in 2 weeks. Because yes, he's a good road racer, but nobody would rank him in the top 5. He's not a top 5 road course racer. And then there's a couple super speedways, but anyone can win super speedways. And then you got a lot of Dovers and you got a Richmond and an Iowa. And I don't think short tracks have been Spire's strongest suit this year. It seems to be the higher speed intermediate type track. So that's why I really think if he doesn't win Michigan or maybe Pocono, it's either going to be a super speedway win or he's probably not going to make it this year, but he'll be close. To
be fair, if there's any track that you could get a close comparison or somewhat of Bristol, would be Dover. And he was really, really fast.
That's true. He was good at Bristol. That's fair. Bristol's unique though. Bristol, and I don't feel like there's been, I mean, someone with real data could probably prove me wrong or maybe prove me right, but I don't know that Dover and Bristol are as comparable as they initially appear. Maybe I'm wrong.
I will watch Dover be the one that maybe the 48 can finally get their redemption because they were fast at Bristol. He has won at Dover before. He has had top 5s there. Watch that one to be one circled on the 48s list right there.
Yeah, and I'll actually correct myself because I forgot they do run the intermediate package at Bristol for some stupid reason. So maybe there are some more similarities than I'm initially thinking.
Going back to the conversation of is Spire ahead of schedule, I would say yes, they are, because we are legitimately debating this conversation of does Carson Hocevar have what it takes to win at Michigan coming up, instead of saying, can he get a look out and get a win at Echo Park?
Yeah, good point.
I always thinking about Spire. Think about when Haley had won that race at Daytona. And everyone said, what a waste of a race. What a waste of an organization winning, because this organization's obviously just going to pawn off all of their charters. They're not here. They're not serious to win or build their team. And now 6 years later, we're realistically debating, like, can Hocevar break through and win off of speed at Michigan of all places, which is insane to think of. The issue is the guy, and you're going to see right on the bottom line, who is following right behind him in the points, literally one spot behind him, who's probably going to have a bit of a target on that guy right there. And that guy we're talking about is Stenhouse. So I guess we go to the other side of the duality of Hocevar. The deal as Eric follows him all the way to the end.
Come back.
The deal with Ricky Stenhouse, that
just
Stenhouse was not too happy with.
Stenhouse was not too happy, and I don't blame him. He has not DNF'd once this year until Nashville, and was 13th, I believe, in the regular season points before this incident. Now he's 3 positions out of the playoff spot. So Stenhouse's frustration is entirely justified. The incident itself, to me, It's mostly on Hocevar, I guess. But if that happens with 20 laps to go, I think you're just saying, hey, it's hard to pass. Two guys are going for the same spot. Tough break. I think the problem is it's early in the race. Stenhouse is old enough now to remember an era of NASCAR where you kind of cut each other a break on lap, 90 or whatever it was. And Hocevar didn't grow up in that era of NASCAR. Hocevar subscribes to the go 100% all the time philosophy. And I think that's why there was a clash there. So, Stenhouse has a right to be frustrated. Did Hocevar do anything really egregious? No, I don't think he did, but he won't get the benefit of the doubt because he has done some egregious things in the past.
And I want to make it known, I don't want Hocevar to change at all because we saw the man do it to Ross, and now Hocevar needs to stick it to the man. Like, don't change. And I like it. Was it Jeff Dickerson this week? I think that said basically like, you can do that. Just don't act like an ass when they give it back to you.
Yeah. He effectively said that. And I think he's right because, Hocevar has right-reared guys. He's retaliated. He's lost his cool. So it's like, hey, you can be aggressive. We're not going to rein you in too much, but expect it in return. And don't freak out if and when it happens. And I think that's the right way to go about it. Yeah. I made the comparison in my show this week to like the Larson Busch Chicagoland finish where Larson pushing the issue, kind of roughed up Busch. Yeah. So Busch roughed him right back up. Did Larson freak out? No, he was giving him the thumbs up, shaking hands after the race. And I'm like, that's why people like Larson. Contrast that with Joey Logano, how he reacted to the racing with Christopher Bell at North Wilkesboro. That's why Joey Logano gets booed during driver intros because he could dish it out. He didn't want to take it at Wilkesboro. So that's, you got to kind of race like, or you got to respond like Larson, not like Logano if you want to stay in fan and drivers' good graces.
And the thing that this year is different for me with Hocevar is like last year when he did that stupid stuff at Nashville, like too far. The right rear hooking we talked about. Like
that wasn't Nashville, the Harrison Burton thing, right? I forgot that was Nashville. Yeah.
Like, and I made a video about that. Like, dude, too far. Like, but what I think the stuff with Stenhouse, I think that's on him being too aggressive early on, hitting the bumper and sending him around. And I kind of subscribe to that too. Of like, I think early on in the race, let's cut each other breaks. Let's not go full, stupid on it. I don't even know if it was full stupid, just because it's like you watch the replay and you can make a case. Even if you disagree, you can still make a case of like, Stenhouse kind of blocked a little late and he was way down there already.
Yeah, I heard somebody, one podcast, I forget who it was, I think it was Hamlin actually said that Hocevar dove in there last minute. No, Hocevar showed the nose the whole straightaway. Like he made it pretty clear early on, I'm going to go to the bottom here and maybe push the issue. So, so he telegraphed. It wasn't a dive bomb. It was just an aggressive, race to the bottom when he probably didn't need to do that.
Yeah, and I'm fine with them being aggressive like that. It's the Phoenix truck finale stuff. Yeah. It's the spinning out at Talladega in the trucks to cause a caution. We all know what you were doing. We all saw it. Like we all played, Thunder 04 and we started to lose towards the end of the race and wanted to caution. We all, the dumb stuff at Nashville last year with Harrison Burton and some of those things. Like those are things like don't go over the line. I think he's skirting the line with some of the stuff he's done this year, but he's not going to get the benefit of the doubt because of his past. And some of them in the media are going to keep clutching their pearls about him because I don't know if you guys saw, there was a lot of different outlets and a certain host on Sirius XM this past week that was basically like lobbing all of these criticisms left and right and how overboard he's going and all that. And I'm like, this kind of stuff happens a lot in NASCAR where there's just two guys meet at a certain point.
I want to get your opinion on this because I was thinking about this the other day. And I think it was because who said it? Maybe it was Hamlin who kind of made a comment that I think this was what he was referring to. Maybe it wasn't Denny. I forget who said it on what show this week. But Hocevar with the Dale truck walking through the Nashville garage with the Dale Jr. t-shirt on. Is there the cowboy hat, Cowboy Carson? Is there a chance that especially the older guard looks at Carson sort of playing dress up? What is he going to show up with a fake mustache next week and complete the look? Like, is he playing up the intimidator thing when he hasn't really earned that at this point? Like, I could see, I would just wonder if the three of us can't really speak to it because we're all in our 20s, but like I could see guys in their 40s, 50s
I think that might, but
like, does that rub people the wrong way? I think that's the vibe I got, was like, that's rubbing some people the wrong way. I think
it's a generational gap.
Yeah.
I think it's a huge generational gap, because I don't know about you guys, but like, and I think I've told this story before. Like, when I was in college, there was a dude wearing an Elliott Sadler jacket or a Kyle Busch. It was like an M&M's one. And I like asked him, like, hey, like, cool, you like NASCAR? And he goes, no. I'm like, oh, it's a NASCAR jacket. Like, I think it was Kyle Busch. I'm like, that's a Kyle Busch jacket. He's like, oh, I just picked it because I thought it looked colorful. And I had like my Dale Jr. amp one. And I'm like, that's just, it's a style now. Like, so, and I get, maybe he's playing it up a little bit for the social media side of it. And yeah, like, that's going to get plenty of clicks, likes, and all of that jazz. But I also think that it's also just like, it is popular to wear NASCAR stuff like that now, especially like the busier it is, the older it looks, stuff like that. Like,
yeah,
I think that's part of it as well. I don't think he's too much playing up a intimidator aspect of it.
But some might view it that, because I kind of agree with you. I don't have an issue with what he's doing, but like, people see him buying the Dale truck and posting all those photos, and and then the cow, like the look, like it's just, and then the way he drives, and he's kind of careless. He did not apologize to Ricky in the moment after the wreck happened. I was listening to his radio, dead silent, no mention of the incident, just nonchalant. After the race, he even said, "Hey, I thought Stenhouse could cut me a break." Like I don't know. I think attitude wise, people see, like, the older fans might see that and think, oh, who does he think he is? And just, I don't know. That's why I wonder. So, like, because to your point, some of the criticism this week was pearl clutchy. I agree. And I was trying to figure out where some of that might be coming from. And my theory was it's how he carries himself, how he presents himself might rub certain demographics the wrong way, which I understand. I just can't exactly relate because I'm 27 and unfortunately never saw Dale Earnhardt race live or in person. So it's hard for me to speak to that.
I'm trying to look something up to kind of give me an idea. Do you guys remember? So the best equivalent I can give is, I don't know how people felt about it back then, but have you guys seen the pictures and videos of Dale Earnhardt back in his early days when he actually kind of was walking around sporting a hat that looked strangely like Richard Petty's before he had even gotten on Petty's level? Like, in a way, that's got to be considered pretty similar to each other, to in a lot of ways.
That's an interesting comparison. Yeah.
I'll ask this question too. If he is doing it, is it a bad thing, really? Because to me, I want somebody who on and off the track both is going to push the boundaries. Like, if it's going to piss off half the fan base, and let's be honest here too, everyone's made up their mind about Carson Hocevar at this point. You either like what he's doing or you don't. And then if he pushes that line too much, the people that like him will criticize him or whatnot, and he might lose.
I think it's still a little fluid. I remember less than 2 years ago, everyone hated him after Phoenix. And now it's like, I see a lot of the same people are like, I kind of like Carson. So I think there's still some fluidity there. I don't think it's bad. Like, I just can't speak to it. Like, if I saw, I don't even know what I would compare it to, but like, I could just see, like, it's going to be a generational thing. It's going to be how you view. Do you view what he's doing as, hey, who are you? Who do you think you are? Or are you going to just say, hey, this is funny, good content? Like, I think it's dependent on your age.
In general, drivers like this, we've seen them all, like, throughout time. If you were tired of seeing Jimmy Johnson win week after week after week after week, it probably made you sad and you rooted for him towards the last 3 years of his career. If you were tired of seeing Kyle Busch win after week after week after week and all of his antics, you are probably wishing that he will win right now. People don't like to admit this, but towards the end of Dale Earnhardt Sr.'s career, there were still a lot of people who booed him and couldn't stand the way he drove. Look back at the Bristol, nonsense with Terry Labonte. He got booed like crazy at Bristol that night.
We need someone who can wear the black hat. Like, that's
I'm all for it.
Some people don't appreciate what you're seeing until it's gone.
What I love about at least the timing too, and we'll kind of talk about it in the ratings in a bit. Like, it's the biggest 18 to 35 NASCAR audience in like 5 or 6 years. That's not the Daytona 500 or on a network race. Like it's actively like the last 2 weeks, which has sort of been like all of Carson Hocevar mixed all into one. The last 2 races have been in front of a bunch of people who I feel like can actually really connect with him as a driver. Like I'm not going to see somebody who's 80 years old who's watching on Fox and complaining about Prime connecting with Carson Hocevar. I'm going to see somebody my age who's watching somebody just sort of stick it to everybody who's around and say, screw you, I'm going to do what I want. I see that connecting with people more, especially people that are like our age or younger like that. Like that's part of the reason I really like him. Like he stands out.
No, I agree. I that's what I think. I think our perspective is warped by our age, our experience. I don't think everyone out there is going to share our opinion, but I'll bet a lot of the folks watching this show would probably agree. I root for storylines. Carson's given us storylines. This has been we talked about this before the show. This has been kind of a slow news week. Carson's move on Stenhouse has become like the thing everyone's talking about, and it's fairly innocuous when you look. But like stuff like that happens every week. But because it's Carson, it's like, and it's a slow news week. We're talking about it so much.
The hosts of our fan base is going to be built of 2 groups. The one side is funny hat guy, and second is, man, he's a gritty racer who's not afraid to give it back to these guys.
And also, I saw this too, that, I'm failing to see that a lot of his incidents are due to his hot temper, not intimidation. I didn't say he was intimidating. I didn't say he was the intimidator.
He is pretty tall.
Does he feel that kind of, but does he feel that kind? Yeah. I mean,
and I'm saying that,
but does he feel kind of that more villain, black hat, anti-hero, if you want, like role? Like this is the thing too, as much as I want people to like Carson Hocevar, I want a lot of people to hate Carson Hocevar because that's what makes it fun to me. Like
I find it more of he's not afraid of how long these guys have been in the sport. He's here to make his name in a sport, and that's the way you should be. Too many young guys we've seen come into the sport and they feel like, oh, got to get all corporatized already, and then they just fall into the trap, and we lose them in a few years.
See, this thing, just like I said before, I want people to hate him. This comment, we're going to see plenty of comments like that, and I think it's great. I love it, and I'm a Carson Hocevar. I would probably argue at this point Carson Hocevar fan. I want to see him more up front and do well, but it's this stuff, man. I absolutely love it. And I know I could spend all night talking about this races moving forward, all that with Hocevar. I'm pretty sure a lot of people could. But there were other drivers in the race too, that we do need to probably talk about. And I want to talk about 2 really good comebacks tonight. One from a mistake, one from, I guess you could argue maybe a mistake in judgment on a restart and crashing. Bubba Wallace and Christopher Bell had some really damn good comebacks in this race.
Yeah, Bubba Wallace bet on pit road.
Yep, sped on pit road and got back to 6th.
And that was brutal at first when he first sped on pit road, because I think he qualified somewhere in the top 10, or he was running near the top 10, maybe 12th or something like that. And when he sped on pit road, I was just shaking my head because he's coming into this race with 3 straight finishes outside of the top 30. Like he is hemorrhaging points. We talked about Bowman going through a slump and slipping towards the bubble. Bubba's right there behind him. So that was a big mistake for him to recover and finish 6th. Really impressive considering how difficult it was to pass. They needed that desperately.
Well, and then Bell, like we've seen when you damage really any part of the next gen car at one of these tracks that Aero was very important at, like it's hard to come back up and actually make your way up to a good finish. 10th place finish for Christopher Bell on Sunday night with that car that was, I thought, junked. Like I thought it was like Eric's internet there for a minute, like just completely junked. If he can hear, he's probably like, God damn it, that's so stupid. I'm just saying, man. I mean, Christopher Bell, early in the year, we were talking about championship stuff and all of that. Those kind of runs, making something out of nothing, those are the kind of runs that people are going to really focus in on in September, October, and maybe November.
Yep.
I love that. Out of the net. On top of that, we had comebacks, and Danny, there were 2 guys, and you mentioned one of them earlier. that I thought had some pretty good runs. One a great run, one just a good enough run to get him up further. Eric Jones and Kyle Busch.
Mm-hmm.
Eric Jones, I believe, comes home 7th, and Kyle Busch 12th, but still ran top 10 or at least borderline top 10 for a lot of the night. So what do you take of let's start with Jones here. Eric Jones ran, I believe, as high as like 3rd at one point, might have run 2nd, but he was up in the top 3 or 4.
I remember him being in the top 5 for a little bit. At one point, we got out of the infield. We actually went up to the grandstands and watched the race for a little bit up there. And I remember seeing him up in the top 5 there for most of that time we were up there. And so they had a good run. They had exactly what they needed. And I was looking at driver averages going into Michigan, and Eric Jones has a pretty good average finish in Michigan too. So this is really, really good for Jones to be getting some momentum at the right time, so they can, it's a long shot for them to make the playoffs still, but for them to be able to capitalize on all of their good tracks as much as possible is something that's going to be key for legacy in the 43 team that they've got to jump on when the opportunity presents itself.
Yeah, and it's been mostly like John Hunter Nemechek with that team that's been pretty good, and it's sort of been one or the other. But like for legacy as a team, man, this is such a huge step for them of like actual competitiveness, and actually seeming to improve as the year goes on. The other one, Kyle Busch, I get a 12th place finish, hang the banner, all that for Kyle Busch. People will say whatever. There you go. If you're playing a drinking game, there's your first one of the night.
But hey, I will say it was Samantha Bush's birthday, and so that was good to see Kyle have a decent race for once while it was her birthday. So that was a good thing for the Busch family.
Yeah, and just saying, man, he was pretty good at Michigan last year. He's pretty good at intermediates in general. Like, could Kyle Busch be the one that we're completely sleeping on when it comes to winning his way in? And we're all talking Hocevar, and rightfully so. But
one of his last wins was at Auto Club Speedway, a very similar track.
Yeah, R.I.P. Auto Club. He's back.
Sorry, had a thing. Had to go check on,
good.
but we're good.
Okay,
the Gremlins were there. We're just
the McDonald's was calling. They asked if they get the Wi-Fi back.
Well,
just kidding.
We are getting right into the ratings talk. So you guys cool jumping on into that?
Sounds
I don't
good.
have a graphic for that one.
Oh, dang. We got to work on that.
Yeah, we'll get there next year. Or maybe this year. I don't know. The Cup race had a 1.01 rating and 2.06 million viewers. So down 36% from the NBC portion of last year's race, down 3% from the USA Network portion of last year's race. Generally, but I will say, if you were comparing it to cable, it's definitely on the lower end. If we're just going to call it how it might be or how it is. It was still the most watched motorsport of the weekend by almost 50%.
Wild.
Yeah, I mean, it beat IndyCar and Formula One still.
Yeah, F1 was racing, and I watched a little bit of that morning too.
And they got pretty solid numbers this year. The 18 to 35 demo, though, for this race increased 23% year over year. So I think that what NASCAR, and I think we can kind of see what they're doing, is more or less taking the short-term hit in the ratings for the younger audience. And I think what Prime has done being here is, I think it's weeded out the older fans that were not going to follow NASCAR and anything new that they were going to do moving forward. Like the ones that we're not going to change in any way. And they've still retained some of the older fans that, will move with that and will move with technology. I was talking to my grandpa and I told him about all of the comments on social media. And he's like, it's not that hard. You just press a few buttons like normal TV and you're on it.
We know it's not that hard, but.
And I was telling him, there were people saying how difficult it was. And he's like, didn't they have a 30-day free trial too? I'm like, yes, they did.
I try to be like, understanding, because not everyone has a smart TV or a device that can get Amazon Prime, and I know there's some regions that don't have access to great internet, but no, to your point though, Jarrett, I think the way I saw somebody tweet this and it was genius, or it was a good way to view it. And I don't remember who it was. I'm sorry, I can't give credit, but they essentially said that basically NASCAR is getting almost the exact same ratings they were on cable, but the audience is getting significantly younger. Like, yeah, that's a win. Big picture, business wise, that's a win for NASCAR that they're reaching a younger demo and aren't hemorrhaging any significant number of overall viewers. That's important.
I wonder, this random idea because it keeps popping in my head. I wonder how many older people will literally write a Facebook comment and be like, I can't get Prime. This is so awful. You're awful, NASCAR. And immediately after pressing send on that, they turn around and go, Alexa, play Willie Nelson.
Oh my God.
I probably just set off a lot of people's
oh man, you probably did devices. Too. What play? We need a doorbell sound effect in case anyone's watching this on their TV.
There's so many people who watch this on TV that now have Willie Nelson playing for some reason.
That's not a bad thing.
No. On the road again.
As for the Xfinity ratings, brace for impact, guys. We're finally under 1 million.
No!
Whoa, Benny, okay?
That hurt.
Took that quite literally to heart.
988,000 viewers. So the streak is broken. It's still up plus 29% from the same weekend Xfinity last year, and it peaked at 1.062 million viewers. So it's not. Xfinity is doing quite well this year with the ratings.
The reason it was below 1 million is because that difference of like 12,000 people, they were all at Nashville. You know, we just lost the Nashville market. They were all at the race.
No, I saw. Ironically, those people were tuning into Prime trying to find the Xfinity race.
I saw somebody blame Prime for it. In one of the comments to Stern's tweets, they said, "You know what it was? I'm sure plenty of people did it the same as me. They knew they weren't going to watch the Cup race this week, so they just didn't watch any NASCAR this week." I'm like, that has to be one of the weirdest ways to connect two completely unconnected things. Like outside of it's just NASCAR is the only similarity here. That has to be one of the weirdest ways I've ever heard those things connected. But it is so damn funny to watch. Like the meltdowns are great to watch.
My mom doesn't have Prime, so she did watch the Xfinity race on Saturday night, and she told me she enjoyed being able to watch that one. But she legitimately doesn't have any reason to get Prime or even think about it because she lives out in an area where having Prime for delivery does her no good. They can't get it out there from any warehouse anytime soon for her to justify doing that. So she just keeping up with like the positions on the app. There's still ways you can keep up the races even if you don't have Prime. Just saying.
Did y'all see that thing Trackhouse, that app Trackhouse designed just for their people? That's like essentially like a modern day Track Pass or Race View.
I had no clue.
I'm like, oh my gosh, somehow, some way we got to get that back into the public's hands.
I need to tell her about if that's a thing then, because
it's not public. I think they literally only give it to like their guests that they bring to the track or something.
Dang,
like that. Unless I'm mistaken. But
that would be great to have that because my mom is kind of low key a Chastain fan. So
maybe we can get her as a guest sometime. Just saying.
Maybe we can call Justin Marks and get her a VIP pass. Come on, Justin Marks. You got your biggest fan out here somewhere in Tennessee. I'm not gonna dox her.
Let's just dox Danny's mom, everybody. Come on.
I don't even know where she lives. I just know it's somewhere in Tennessee.
It's at 123 Danny B. Mom's address.
555
in town in Tennessee. Now when it comes to some other ratings here, we got the poll. 12,000 votes for the Cracker Barrel 400. 16% said that this was a great race. 64% said it was a good race, so 80% net positive. 17% said it was an average race, and 3% were negative on this race, meaning I'm not going to compare it to the mile and a half just because it technically isn't, and it races kind of like it, but it's in the middle. But when it comes to Nashville races, this is our 5th one. Where do you guys think it ranks? Before I go too far with it, where do you guys think it ranks of Nashville races? 4th for Eric.
4th.
Danny says fourth too. Okay.
It's got to be better than 2021.
It ranks second
Oh,
of the 5
Oh.
Nashville races.
Shocked.
wow.
The first, or let's see, 2023 was the highest with 82%. I think I generally agree with that. I really like that one.
It was a good one.
80%, of course, positive for 2025. 2021, the first year, 76% positive. 2024 was not the lowest.
See, I thought 2024, 2025, and 2021 would be the lowest in some order.
Wait, so the lowest would be 22?
22.
Am I crazy? I thought 22 was a great race. Am I totally misremembering
that was
this?
the one. That was when Elliott won too. That's a crazy thing.
It got rain delayed a lot, but I remember thinking like, damn, like I hated sitting through that
I mean,
delay, but it turned out to be a really good race.
The one Chastain one was 23, so I get that one being popular.
Sure.
2024 got 75% positive, and 2022 got 73% positive.
Oh, so they're all pretty close.
But that's just the weird thing to me is because I don't memorize the results of my poll. There are plenty of things I do memorize. That is not one of them. And when I went back and looked at that, I was like, okay, yeah, I know this one will be ahead of last year's. And I saw last year's wasn't last. And I'm like, do people really like that? And I get it was a good race leading up to it. So maybe we have a much more impartial audience than we're probably giving them credit to with our comments here. But I was like, damn, I really thought that finish would weigh it down more. Was the rest of the race before that just that good?
I don't remember, frankly. I just remember the 5 overtimes.
That's all I remember from it.
Well, what kind of comments?
I remember it being a decent race, like of Hamlin tracking down Chastain at the end, but then the madness happened.
So first comment was from the Ultimate KFB fan 2721. Is it positive, negative, or meme?
Probably a meme.
We haven't actually guessed on these in a while, have we?
Yeah, I've realized we kind of skipped past that part.
Yeah,
so my bad.
So sorry, read me, because I wasn't expecting this, so we stopped doing it. Read me the name one more time. I wasn't ready.
The Ultimate KFB fan 2721.
Oh gosh, that poor guy. Got to be negative.
Great race. Happy for Ryan Blaney. He earned it.
Oh,
so it was neither meme nor negative.
I was leaning into the name too much. I was like, poor guy.
The name was misleading.
NASCAR Sam, top voted comment, said the Amazon Prime broadcast is amazing, making the quality of the races so much better. Z-Wind says first Cup race I've watched since the 2021 Daytona 500.
That's
Excited
crazy.
to be able to watch the next few on Prime as I don't have cable.
See,
Wow.
Checkmate, boomers.
Pepsi Racing says all 14 Cup races in 2025 have a random HMS driver finishing in the top 5. Yeah, Joe. Interesting. Marshall Griffin says, finally, Blaney and host of ours engines actually locked in.
Is pit crew, especially that last pit stop I posted on Twitter. They were like that episode of SpongeBob where SpongeBob just like suddenly gets like ripped.
Yap Center says solid race, not a barn burner, but a solid race. Vermonter says Carson is that close. He will get one this year. And the last one from the normal comments is Wizard King Nick, who says, good race, but I'm 100% against Sunday night races, excluding the ones that have a holiday the next day. The ratings might help you out in that. Depends on what Michigan and Pocono and Mexico do.
I wish we had more Saturday night races, but it's just something we got to accept that's not happening that much anymore.
Yeah, the ratings definitely don't back Saturday nights up, but at least it was. That's the thing is this past year, and maybe it felt different at the track. Nashville was so much cooler than the last couple of years.
Oh, that's the weird thing. You couldn't have asked for better weather than we had this weekend for racing. It would have been fine as a day race this year, but it's because we moved it so much earlier in the year. If we were still at the time of year we were last year, because trust me, this week has already been way hotter than it was last year. So yeah, night race would have been much more appreciated at this weekend than it was this past weekend.
My computer for the local says at 8 o'clock local time right now, it is 82 degrees still. And it's been cooling off today so far.
I think it got in the 90s today. I'm not sure.
It was around there. If it definitely felt like it earlier today. When I was out around noon. But the gutters here. David Reitzmar says, my man Ryan Blaney won Yahoo, and that got voted down. So,
Wow.
poor
Come
David.
on, keep it. Guys, David didn't say nothing bad.
Bobby Martin says, to hell with NASCAR.
Bobby.
Dang it, Bobby.
And RSCRL says, boring was a one groove track. I mean, at the end it was. But
Yeah, it wasn't the final stage.
I can't argue too much about that.
but that was the poll. So that was a lot of fun. We do have, let's go over the first two races of the weekend. The Xfinity race, I won't be honest, like it was I'd say all of these races this weekend were just straightforward races. There wasn't really too much flash or flair to them. Personally, I kind of liked them in like descending order of the weekend. I like the truck race the most. I liked the Xfinity race all right, and I thought the Cup race was okay. But Justin Allgaier, it was a clash of the ends of the garage of age when it came to the Xfinity series, because it was Justin Allgaier versus Connor Zilisch for the victory this past weekend.
It was fun to watch too, because I can't remember exactly how it was a restart or somehow like Zilisch cycled to the lead and held on for a while, looked pretty good, but then at the end Allgaier got the lead and Zilisch kept him honest, kept him close, but it kind of just felt like between those two, whoever had the clean air was likely not going to lose it as long as they didn't make any big mistakes. But my takeaway was this was like the 15th, 18th oval race of Connor Zilich's Cups or NASCAR career period, and he's going toe for toe with the defending series champion, a guy who has like a 90-point lead, the vet of the series, and equal equipment. Connor Zilisch, I'm very impressed with how he has adjusted to oval racing this year. I guess he's young, so it's one of those, he doesn't have very many bad habits to begin with. You don't know what you don't know, kind of a blank slate, but I'm still very impressed that he's been as competitive at some of the ovals this year as he's been.
Yeah, and Allgaier, when you see like those races where Larson's dominating in Xfinity, it's Allgaier who's usually the only one that's actually able to keep some sort of pace with him. And so if Zilisch takes that step up, because I don't think Allgaier is getting any worse. I know that there were like the rumors and talks of like, oh, is he going to retire or any of that? Because I know there had been some kind of talk with that this past weekend. Allgaier is still at the top of his game. I don't think that he's diminished in a couple of weeks down to Zilich's level. I think Zilisch has ascended towards where the 7 is running, which, especially if the rumors are true about the fact that he might not be moved up next year and they're just going to add races like they did this year to his Cup slate, like that's going to be somebody who's going to be dangerous in 2026 when he's finally got a full grip of these cars.
And I think that works either way, no matter what direction they want to go with Connor. I think more time to not have the Cup pressure on him would do him well personally, but if they want to put him straight in the Cup, then go for it too.
I just want to point out, he's in a JRM car, so is Allgaier. Allgaier led the most laps and won the race, but Zilisch led 18 laps. Ross Chastain was in a JRM car. Granted, it's a part-time entry. He finished 5th with 0 laps led. And then the other
loved watching the battle between him and Almirola at the end of that race.
Well,
that was really good.
He also, not a JRM car, but he beat a Cup driver in Eric Almirola as well. But Quapple and Sammy Smith, also JRM equipment, finished 10th and 11th with 0 laps led. So that's what I mean. I just these are really good young race cars. Quapple, especially, I think we all believe is a really good young prospect. He's been a great short track racer, but Connor Zilisch was better this weekend. That's scary good. We know he's the best road course racer in Xfinity. If he's this good at ovals already, he could really be the real deal. To
be fair, with the Danny Dye DQ, all the JRM cars finished top 10 this week.
Waltrip got to be fuming right now.
I know. As I was saying, I guarantee he's probably cracking open an extra couple beers for that.
Dude,
getting his prescription, a couple of beers.
Me and Eric were not at the truck race on Friday night. We were watching it. We were watching it here at my place. We grilled steaks. We had s'mores. We watched the race on TV. And at one point, Michael Waltrip literally found any way possible to bring up Daniel Dye and talk about his good run from last year. It's like, of course, he finds a way to talk about Danny Dye when he's not even in the race.
I swear it's like he's got a quota from the Dye family. I do want to give a slight shout out. I won't say it's the greatest thing ever, but I wanted to make a note of this because he got spun and then came back up to finish at the end after the DQ 11th. Corey Day actually showed real raciness in this race. He was racing top 5 and top 10 where he should in that car.
Yeah, it was one of his best Xfinity races so far. Although I was more impressed, not to move on too quick, I was actually more impressed with his Truck Series run where he legit was top 5 all night. I think he finished there. But yeah, that's another guy, dirt guy, who a lot of people believe in, could be really good. I think he's the one I believe people have compared to Kyle Larson in the past. Yes. Could be really good. Obviously has real potential, but it's been a struggle in his part-time Xfinity starts thus far. So yeah, I agree. It was promising to see some small steps forward.
Speaking of promising, William Sawalich, it didn't get the finish that they wanted, but he got the pole award, led 37 laps, was hanging in there, and then literally got the kiss of death from the broadcast crew.
I mean, he did get the commenter's curse. He also wrecked on the straightaway. Like he pulled a Corey LaJoie at Michigan and just side drafted too wrong and wrecked himself.
He finally showed me the one thing. I think I said this earlier in the show this year. I'm not ready to count William Sawalich out because of the fact he is in a JGR Xfinity car, and you never know what will happen.
Yeah, no, I mean, he's too young to say, oh, this guy's a bust. You can't, like, the guy, I just pulled it up to make sure I got it right. Literally last season at 17 years old, he won, I'd say what you will, he won 9 out of 9 out of 14 ARCA races that he entered. And now, what does that say about ARCA? Fair. But
yeah, fully Chris.
But I'm just saying, I mean, I guess that's one takeaway. If in 3 years we look back and say, dang, this William Sawalich guy was a total bust, ARCA, man. ARCA's in a bad spot.
He is way too good for ARCA. Maybe shouldn't have went straight to Xfinity. Maybe if Corey Heim gets out of trucks, he can go there.
I'm just saying, I believe Sawalich literally went head-to-head against Zilich numerous times last year and beat Zilich more than he lost in ARCA. So, yeah, that's I know maybe he was probably slightly better equipment than Zilich was in, debatable, similar. But that's all I'm saying. Like, I'm not ready to write Sawalich off. Say what you will about ARCA, but 9 wins in a single year, part-time year as a 17-year-old is something.
Well, and you, I guess, kind of just shift over to the truck side here, because I know a lot of people bring up the trucks too with that and Heim ever moving. Raja Karuth breaks through, gets that win this year. First win since his win at Las Vegas in 2024. Good old Raja, friend of the show. You know, we've said a lot. He's struggled a lot this year, and especially at stringing together consistency. He's shown speed at times, maybe not been able to capitalize on that. But say what you will about maybe the squeeze job with Heim, but holds off, I would argue, the 2 hottest full-time Truck Series drivers right now. Corey Heim, who definitely is the best in trucks right now, and Lane Riggs, who has shown that high-end potential that we like to see out of these young drivers. So what are we thinking about both this season, but also maybe developmentally where Raja is right now after that kind of win? He
said after the race, my pit crew won me that race, and he's not lying. He did have to hold him off, but I think in post-race interviews, like Corey Heim, he would acknowledge like clean air was key. You know, once he was stuck in dirty air, he couldn't really do anything. And I agreed on that part. I told Eric after each stage, and every time Raja's pit crew got him out first, he beat everyone out on pit road every time. It was
2 or 3 times. Yeah.
I kept telling Eric while we were watching, like, man, Raja's pit crew is doing everything they can to win him this race, but he can't hold on to the lead when he gets it. Well, hey, he proved me wrong at the right time to do it, because he did, once he got to that lead in stage 3, he just held on to it.
Yeah, no, the pit crew, like you said, got him the lead 2 or 3 times, including at the end. And they must have adjusted on the truck because, yeah, he was better at the end, was able to hold him off. I mean, the pit crew deserves a lot of credit, but Raja did a tremendous job holding off, like you said, Jarrett, the 2 fastest trucks all season.
Was he using the same pit crew that Carson had in the Cup race, being with Spire? Because the Carson's pit crew was very key into him getting second too. Could launch him from 6th to 2nd on that last pit stop.
Could be. I don't know. Someone get Bozy on the horn. I'm sure he knows the roster. I don't know. But
I spy with my little eye a future number 9 pit crew member or 2 in there.
I know, but I'm very impressed with Raja. That's what I was going to say, was the poise he showed under tremendous pressure is substantial, is significant, and I think shows some growth there. I'm a believer in Raja. We've all known him for a long time. I think it's been awesome to see him rise up the ranks, get this opportunity. I don't know that I know he has some relationship, obviously, with Hendrick and through Spire, however that really works. I don't think he's like ready for that next leap. It'd be cool to see him in an Xfinity car more regularly, for sure, even if it's not full time. It would be awesome to see him in the 17 or maybe in the 9 or even full time at Junior Motorsports next year. That would be really cool. But this was a big step, because it's been a very inconsistent season up to this point. I'm not
been
going to say
inconsistent ever since that first win at Vegas, even.
Basically, yeah. Like, he had that dominant win at Vegas that we're all like, whoa, and then didn't do a lot the rest of the year. And then it's kind of carried over into this season. But I would argue this season that the Spire trucks don't look as dominant. The 7's always good because it's usually Kyle Busch or Carson Hocevar driving it. But like the 07, for example, Kyle was in the field this weekend in the 07 and was 15th all night. Even after he had a speeding penalty, I know, but he recovered from that and then went backwards. So the
you could literally just finish that sentence with Kyle was in the field this week.
Yeah, that was
because that's all he was.
And so, say what you will. I just think the Spire trucks aren't quite as good as they were a year or even 2 years ago. They're not probably as good as they were when they were KBM trucks. So for Raja to still have this night where he just popped was impressive.
Spire, though, at this point in trucks is in a much better position than what GMS was towards the end of their career, which is what Raja's first opportunity at trucks was. It's kind of funny to look back on Raja's career at this point, and it literally feels like he's someone playing the NASCAR video games. You're going to start off with a few runs in this late model. Then you're going to get a few part-time runs of Alpha Prime. And now you're going to get a good truck series opportunity with GMS. You've been promoted to Spire. Now we're looking at new opportunities for you in the upper series.
I want to see where he's at in points real quick, and then I know we can move on to the first super chat stage break. But this vaults him. See, this only gets him to 10th. He's still behind the Honeycutts, the Majeskis. I know he's the defending champion. I guess that's not the big deal. He's behind Jake Garcia in points. Like that's all. It's just the consistency hasn't been there. I hope this is the start of some real consistency.
Look down there in the points too. I mean, 6 races out. By the way, there's 6 races left to truck regular season.
Oh yeah,
they're gonna have to have a new winner down there. Because 48 points, it's going to be really damn tough to make that up in a truck series. I get that there's wrecks and all of that crazy stuff, but there's nobody that's consistent enough down there. So this win pretty much blew it up.
The best part, though, is that Corey Heim could take 2 races off. Emmerich could sweep the stages and win the race, and he still wouldn't catch him in points.
Now, what if he got the fastest lap?
Okay, if you got the fastest lap in both races, I think he would be tied with Corey Heim.
Jesus. So he'd have to run 2 perfect races.
He'd have to pitch 2 perfect games back to back. He would catch Heim if Heim took the weeks off.
Let's just remember this when Heim inevitably finishes 4th in points at the end of the year.
That's the thing. He'll make the championship 4, but it's 50-50 once he gets there.
I'm looking at the standings now, the truck series, and I think I was chatting with Eric about this briefly. Man, what in the world's going on at 4Sport? Like, I know we can dog on Matt Crafton and say, oh, it's probably time to retire, Matt. But in general, you don't see Crafton up there that much. You don't see Ben Rhodes up there that much. You don't even see Majeski up there that much anymore.
Yeah,
Majeski and Jake Garcia have the same stats: 2 top 5s, 6 top 10s. Garcia has led more laps than Ty Majeski at this point in the season.
It all started when they hired Connor Jones. No, I'm kidding. Did you see he got into another fight this weekend?
Oh yeah, he's probably in a fight right now.
Yeah, it is crazy. They're gonna have to change manufacturers again. They gotta make a change again.
It's funny you say that. Guts, glory, Ram. We'll talk
when
about
in
that.
doubt.
We'll talk about that in a little bit. I was reaching over. I don't know if you saw me continuously dropping crap left and right, because I actually do have one of those old Raja GMS ones.
Ooh.
The Wendell Scott tribute.
Love that. That's cool.
It's a good looking truck. Did I tell you the story behind this? When we went up north for the baby shower for Riss, I stopped to get some clothes from Target, and I saw this, and I'm like, well, I'll take a year or two out, whatever, I'll get it. And they didn't ring up because they'd been discontinued but never taken off the shelf. Because remember, Lionel had been taking those, says like the 2022, 2023, all that stuff at the time. And so I had to sit at the self-checkout with my brother and I think Riss for like 10, 15 minutes as this old lady tried to figure out how to use the barcode scanner. And I was like, I'll just pay in cash. I really don't care. I know the price of it, and I'll just like do the math and add the tax. I don't care. Like, I just want to leave now.
Gosh, I just imagine you sitting there with your little toy car, just like.
And there's this line, and it's funny.
Like,
and this is the great.
It's like, lady, self checkout was meant for grown men. Like, made us sneakily buy a toy car, not have to worry about any judgment.
That's the great part, because thank God I'm married to Riss, who would just laugh at me about this, because the entire line is just like 20-something-year-old women all staring at me holding up the damn line as I'm standing there with a Raja Caruth truck, and I think I had a Michael McDowell car, and I'm just like,
two of them.
I've got my little I got my toy truck, and I got my little love.
It's for my
car.
child.
I should have just used that one. Like, sorry, it's for the kid. My brother probably would have been like, you're having a girl.
I've used that excuse, and I have no kids.
But that was a funny story to end that off on. Why don't we do the first super chat stage break? So
rock and roll.
Let's see. Leave the timer on, and then I think there were a good amount that were before we went live.
Go for it. I got the timer rolling when you start.
And let's go. Bailey left 2 super chats for $4.99 saying, watching mid to late 2000s races, why was everyone obsessed with red or orange roof numbers? Like 2006 to 2009, everyone had that color. I think it's because a lot of it stood out, because a lot of it was like neon or like black or white numbers before that. So it helps stand out a little more too. Now says also, Fox can find a tiny iPhone on the track, but misses a giant wreck happening. Peak Fox.
I saw somebody make that joke this week. Yeah. I was like, facts.
And I'm wrong. Pat with the 10 here says, have you guys seen some of the hilarious videos with AI Mike Joy, DW, and Larry Mack? Like the one which was, what if Fox aired the 2003 Carolina Dodge dealers 400 finish today?
I have seen at least one of them. I didn't see that one. It's just the AI voice using Mike Joy, DW, and Larry Mack, and it's pretty accurate, but it's degenerate as you might expect. But it's kind of funny if you're into that.
Andrew Winslow says, I call it lol cow of the week, rhymes with grug. Finally feeling better after being in the hospital all last week. Thanks for making my week awesome. Well, I'm glad you're all right too. Like, we're glad
you're doing okay,
right.
Andrew.
I'm not getting the rhymes of grug. I don't know what reference this is.
I have no idea what this reference is, but
it's a meme that I've been seeing all over the place. But you call it recovery because it rhymes with grug. Let's see. Bailey with another 5 here says NASCAR needs to address the fact the leader cannot pass lap traffic and tire wear being so inconsistent. This is incredibly frustrating, I do agree, and that was an issue definitely with this race, the dirty air too. And I think it's something that might not be at Michigan, but as soon as we start getting other tracks soon, is definitely going to be on the table for the talking stick again. That's for sure. SK Ables with the 5 says, a Michigan-born driver has never won the Cup race. Will this weekend be the first? Has Brad Keselowski never won Michigan?
Apparently, if that stat is correct, that would imply he has not. So you got Keselowski, you have Eric Jones coming off a top 10 run, and you got Carson Hocevar in the field. Is there any other Michigan drivers I'm missing?
There's going to be like one field filler. Well, actually, there's no open cars this week, so no real field fillers. Justin Drake here says for the 10, I call myself mediocre. Or Chase Elliott, I call myself mediocre. Rhymes with grug. And this Nashville performance, I call proof I'm mediocre. Rhymes with grug too. Damn.
We're combining memes now, and I don't understand what's happening.
Let's see. All right, we'll get 2 more here. Josh with the 5 says SMI missed the opportunity to name Atlanta the Sonic Super Speedway. That
they could have.
That would roll off the tongue real good.
So good.
And get Sonic the restaurant to sponsor it.
Sonic.
I feel like Sonic, the really fast video game character, would make a little more sense for racing, but that also might kind of be confusing.
Which one is more likely to hop on board, though?
We've seen Sonic we've seen Sonic sponsor cars before. Danica Patrick was in that one Sonic racing game as a playable character.
The juxtaposition of someone as fast as Sonic with Danica Lizard People Patrick.
Hey, Sonic the restaurant was a Kevin Harvick.
Sonic. I love hearing Rick Allen say that every week.
Oh gosh, get off the screen. Get it off the screen. Get off the screen. I'm not looking at that.
What, Pig Suey? I beat the Vols yet again. I don't know what that means, but I bet the Vols lost.
No, Tennessee baseball plays Arkansas this weekend in the tournament.
Ooh.
Sonic. Sorry.
Oh man. Yeah, I'll tell you what, there'd be a bit of a disturbance in the force, almost like a thundering lightning round, depending on what happens in that game. We'll find out. We'll hear for sure next week from you, Danny, on that one. I know for a fact.
If my shirt changes from blue to orange next week, you know what happened.
Looking at the lightning round here, of course, we have the NWP channel, which I will update. Been a little busy, so I apologize for the slow updates on that. But definitely will be putting the episodes up and a lot of other fun stuff. So keep an eye on that. It's linked down below, or at least the @ is. Pitbull and Tim McGraw will be the opening acts for the 2025 Speedway Classic. That's interesting, with Mr. Worldwide not being an owner anymore.
He can't get away from NASCAR. The bug bit him. He's like, racetrack, I know how to perform one of those.
He's not there for just the race or the racetrack. He's there for the human race.
Yes, that's right.
Greatest damn quote I've ever heard in the media center. Trackhouse added Atlanta and Watkins Glen to Connor Zilich's 2025 slate of races in Cup. So we'll see a little more of the Zillbillies in the stands. Or that's right. It's Echo Park. I dead named the track again.
The Zillbillies. That's a new one. I haven't heard that.
That's crazy.
My chat has been like nicknaming Zilich fans the Zillbillies. And I'm like, what the hell? Yeah. Like, make that a thing. Make somebody tag Connor with that and see like what he thinks of. Like, even if he's not cool with it, keep calling yourselves that. That's awesome.
See, the Rock and his wrestling thing, he would say, in front of the millions. And he could say, in front of the zillions.
He could win Watkins Glen, though. Just gonna throw that out there.
We're about to talk about this because we have a fun little mini segment planned, and I know we'll talk about it later. But Ryan,
that's not it.
For the Canadian 2 says, I got tired of the ass jokes. Atlanta Super Speedway. Sorry, I had to put that one out there. I'm sorry I mispronounced the name too. Of course, yes, that is part of it. The Atlanta Motor Speedway has been renamed the Echo Park Speedway, the start of a 7-year deal through 2031.
I find it interesting that they got rid of the motor in the name.
Echo Park Motor Speedway. I mean, that would actually roll off the tongue better, I thought.
Yeah, it actually don't sound bad that way. I'm like, you could have got rid of a lot of things. Why'd you get rid of the motor, though?
And of course, real quick, we'll end off the lightning round before we get into our fun mini segment. We'll be on Eric's channel next week, June 11th. So be sure to write that down in your calendars. And that will be the lightning round. And so again, I'm kind of teasing this fun little mini segment. I think I DM'd you guys last night, like, hey, why don't we just do this for fun really quick? Because it'll be a fun thing we can probably do in like 3-5 minutes, or knowing us, we can make it 20. Why don't we rank the corporate named tracks, all the corporate names given to tracks? There are 6 of them, and there is no substance to this conversation other than which one sounds the best.
So we're just ranking how cool the name sounds.
Yes.
So a few of these, I guess we're now dead naming these tracks now.
Yeah. But which one sounds the best? So we have 6 options to choose from, and I think we should give our list 6th through 1st here. We have the Echo Park Speedway, the brand new one to the table. We have the ISM Raceway or Speedway. Was it Raceway or Speedway?
Raceway.
ISM Raceway.
What about
ISM.
Jeff Gordon Raceway?
I'm going to back out and come back in because I keep having points where I cut out, and I'm just going to see if that fixes it.
Yeah, you kind of look like a Japanese dude in a Godzilla movie where it's like you talk and then your mouth moves.
Yeah, you guys keep freezing up in my end ever so often, so I'm going to leave and come back real quick.
All right, cool. I'll add you back in. And so while we're going through that, we have the Auto Club Speedway. We have the old Infineon Raceway name. We have Lowe's Motor Speedway, and we have Worldwide Technology Raceway.
Okay,
So
all right. I have my 6.
All right, go from 6th to 1st. Lead us off. What are your rankings?
All right, Danny, these are mine. ISM Raceway, terrible name. What even is ISM? What does it stand for? I don't know. I don't care. Fifth is Worldwide Technology Raceway. It's a mouthful, terrible, awful. Just call it Gateway. That's such a cool, unique name. Number 4, Echo Park Speedway. Could be worse, kind of boring, not terrible. 3 is Auto Club. It's kind of cool. Sounds kind of exclusive. I guess that was the point. Auto Club Speedway, not bad. I like Lowe's Motor Speedway at number 2. Just rolls off the tongue, quick, one syllable. And Jimmy basically owned that place in that era, so it was kind of fitting. But number 1, Infineon Raceway. That's just cool. It sounds like a cool name. I don't know what that company does. I think it's a tech company, probably Silicon Valley. I don't know. But Infineon just sounds cool and had a cool logo. So those are my 6 in order.
Danny, what do you got for your ranking 6th to 1st?
Me and Eric are very similar. I've got 6th ISM Raceway. I think that's the worst name in all of these. Number 5, I'm going to Echo Park Speedway. Number 4, Worldwide Technology Raceway. Number 3, Auto Club Speedway. Number 2, I've got Infineon Raceway. And number 1, I think Lowe's Motor Speedway sounds the best out of all of these.
Fair enough. We're pretty similar there.
So for mine, I think we have a clean sweep for last. ISM. I have ISM. Echo Park, I'm going to put 5th. Worldwide Technology Raceway, I'll put that one 4th. I don't think it's that bad. It's just mediocre. I'm going to put 3rd Infineon.
They went 1, 2, 3 of us.
I got Auto Club 2nd, just because I think that one, it rolled off the tongue pretty well. Really, for me, it was one that fit to Auto Club, NASCAR. Just it fits. But Lowe's for me was always number 1. I'll be honest, I did not know until like 2010 when the sponsorship ended or whatever. I didn't know that Lowe's was Charlotte Motor Speedway because I thought Lowe's fit so well for the track. Plus, like I said, Jimmy was just
being an uneducated kid. I thought they were legit going to a new track and got rid of Lowe's Motor Speedway when I was a kid. What is Charlotte? What happened to Lowe's? So they're going
what
to
is
new
this
track?
Charlotte you speak of? So any discrepancies with anyone's lists we have here?
I think you need to pull the chat real quick. Lowe's or Infineon? Which is the cooler name? Because I had Infineon, you both had Lowe's, so those are our number 1s. Other than that, though, we all kind of aligned.
So let's see, cooler name.
I think maybe Eric might have said this for the longest time. I thought Infineon was literally the name of the town that track was in.
Same.
Yeah, I didn't realize that was like a corporate sponsor until years later.
I think I was like Infineon, California. Where is that?
But you got to admit to, like, if you're a kid going into it, because this is the part, like, I guarantee there's gonna be somebody who's gonna be like, "Oh, these troglodytes didn't know that it was Sears Point," and I'm gonna be like, "Yeah, I was 7."
Was that named after Sears, like the store? Because that's the point. Is we're supposed to be like a corporate branding, and I don't think Sears Point was named after. Yeah.
I don't know. I wasn't around back then. I just
let me look up. Was Sears Point named after the store Sears?
By the way, 60-40 saying Lowe's over Infineon. Infineon sounds cool. I will say that, but the top 3 of Lowe's, Auto Club, Infineon, to me, we can keep those as is. So I guess we probably should have added Sears Point in there.
But I'm trying to see. Sears Point's not like a corporate name, though.
I know. I'm just like, I'm joking a little bit. But no, I mean, I thought it was just fun exercise either way. I guarantee there's gonna be somebody that takes it way too damn serious. And they're like, "Oh, you idiots obviously don't understand the true complexity of ISM."
Some people didn't know Auto Club Speedway was the original name of the track. Wasn't it called just like California Speedway?
Yeah, California Speedway.
That's what it was called in Herbie Fully Loaded.
California Speedway, and it had the same logo basically as Penske Racing.
Which makes sense.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
I think it did.
No, you're right. It did. It did kind of look like the old Penske logo.
Well, that was fun. Just a nice little fun one. But we got a bonus fun segment this week.
I can't handle all this fun.
We're having too much fun.
Then let's head on into the headlines.
This is fun. We're having fun.
There really wasn't too many big headlines this week, other than Cleetus McFarland might have the ownership or driving or both, based on the article from Sports Business Journal, with Ram next year, which is actually kind of big news when you think about it.
There's a lot. Yeah, there was a lot of news or potential news packed into that fairly vague article. We love Adam Stern, Sports Business Journal, but there was a lot of still. It was all penciled in. Let's just say nothing has been inked, I guess, per this report. But yeah, the news that Cleetus McFarland might jump into the truck series next year, either part or full time. I mean, he did say he wanted to run the Daytona 500 in the next 2 or 3 years. So I guess you got to get moving, got to work your way up the ladder. So I'm not shocked to hear that he would consider running some truck races next year. That's not shocking, but that is big news. That's significant news considering he's made 3 ARCA races so far. But then the news that Ram, we've heard news, it's already been reported that Ram is interested in coming back to the truck series, but to hear that they might team up with Cleetus, and that kind of is one of our first indications of what kind of ownership they're looking at, et cetera, that's interesting. So there are a lot of wrinkles to this story. I don't know if, I feel like the Ram part isn't honestly as interesting because we already knew they're likely to return to NASCAR next year, but the Cleetus part, I mean, what do you guys think? Do you think Cleetus is prepared to jump into the truck series, and do you think there's any chance he tries it full time?
I mean, he's good. He's good at business. We know he's been good at business for how long. He's been growing his own personal brands. I don't know what this is going to look like for him long term, but I know this is a great opportunity for he can work with Stellantis in ways outside of NASCAR's brand too.
Yeah, and this is the thing that I caught. The thing that caught my eye in their article, and I put it down in the itinerary, is that, Stellantis with Dodge and Ram, with their re-entry potentially, is wanting to lean a lot on celebrity presence and endorsement. And at first, I think a lot of people who read it were like, ooh, like that's not good. And depending on how it goes, that's definitely probably not the best way, I would say, to go about it competitively. But I mean, if you remember, like, maybe not with like new manufacturers, but say with like the new car with the COT. I remember the old commercials that Chevrolet would put out with the Impala, where they had Dale Jr. and Tony Stewart, and then they had TI, which I know all 3 of those names as big names really dates the time. But back then you could rely on a little celebrity endorsement, like in a commercial, but the drivers were big enough that you could really push it. And even like in the truck series and then Busch series at the time, like you could actually start pushing those drivers as real names for your brand. And I think it just shows, especially when you go in the truck series, like there is nobody outside of Cleetus McFarland that would probably give you any brand recognition if you were Dodge, Ram, Stellantis, you name it. I know there's the separation of Ram Church and Dodge State there now, but like, I'm thinking that like that has to be probably their thinking. We need to get somebody who's going to get it out there with a rabid fan base, get a bunch of support for it, stuff. I mean,
that. He's basically racing Mr. Beast. That's kind of what he feels like.
I've heard people compare him to Jake Paul, like what Jake Paul is for boxing.
I mean, there is a noticeable McFarland bump when he's racing, and I've noticed with like either ratings or with traffic about it. I remember I had a few people who were like asking me like, you should do a post-race show for the Cleetus McFarland ARCA races. And I'm like, yeah, that's a step too far. That's a bridge too far.
And I will say, like, Cleetus McFarland's, or what's his real name? Garrett Mitchell. Is that what it is?
Yes.
Yeah. He brings a more of a recognizable brand and celebrity status, more so than even Frankie Muniz. Like, no offense to Frankie, but I think a lot of people hear he's in NASCAR and go, wait, he's still around? He's doing NASCAR?
He's
now?
alive?
That's kind of the reaction that most people give when they find out that Frankie Muniz races in NASCAR these days. I really think Frankie's going to get more attention, more popularity for this reboot of Malcolm in the Middle, more so than what he's doing in NASCAR right now. So I hate to say it, but that's the truth. With that being said, if Dodge and Ram do want to lean on celebrities, get Frankie involved too. It wouldn't help to get two celebrities involved in that somehow.
Give him some direction in life after his comments over the radio.
Well, yeah. My thing is with that celebrity comment. I mean, I get it. You got to promote your brand. That all makes sense. I just am tired in NASCAR of these social media. Whether it's Haley Deegan, Tony Breidinger, or it's Frankie Muniz, I just feel like a lot of the big stories in the lower series now are people who aren't actually good drivers. It's a lot of, well, they got 3 million Instagram followers or 4 million YouTube subscribers. And I'm not saying Cleetus is a bad driver. I'm just worried that there's a chance it goes down this route. I want Cleetus to prove that he's actually a good race car driver. I know he's driven a ton of different vehicles and different events that he's put on his channel. I don't doubt that he's a wheelman and is capable of this, but he hasn't proven it yet. He's run 3 ARCA races, 2 super speedways, and the one time he got off a super speedway, he effed up on a restart and wrecked 6 cars. Like, it's a learning experience. I'm not holding that against him. I'm not saying that means he should be out of the sport. I'm just saying that doesn't show me he's ready to jump into the truck series. And if we hype this whole thing up, because NASCAR's promoted the hell out of him with all these live streams and all these clips and all these behind the scenes content, that's great. If the performance on track backs it up.
Yeah.
For Deegan, they did it for Danica, they've done it for Frankie Muniz, and in every single case, the performance never matched the hype. And so that's all I'm afraid of, is I don't want Cleetus McFarland to be another all hype publicity stunt. I want him to actually be a really good, which maybe he will be, but we haven't seen enough yet for me to feel strongly one way or another. So Ram leaning into the celebrity is great. I just hope this celebrity is also a great driver, and maybe he will be. We just
I started to say, you brought up Haley Deegan. She's a great example. She has 600,000 subscribers on YouTube. Fantastic brand that her and her husband have both built for her over the years, but that unfortunately does not equal racing success. I started to say the same thing about Natalie Decker, but I'm like, I thought she had more. I think she has a bigger Instagram following than she does YouTube.
Well, and I think part of the conundrum with the Xfinity and Truck Series, these lower series promoting these drivers without any real substance that's been given behind their careers, other than like, hey, they won a K&N race and they finished 4th every week to a couple people, or like, oh, they're a celebrity that's jumping in. I think it's a byproduct, and I'm not saying that they should change it, but I think it is a byproduct of you don't have as many Cup guys down there that are gaining those headlines and gaining a lot of that traction. And so they're looking for every little morsel and kernel they can grab and gravitate towards to make a story at the detriment of these younger drivers. Remember, was it 2 or 3 years ago, Steve Phelps said Raja is going to be our next superstar before Raja had even really made a full-time season in trucks.
Still wish he hadn't set him up like that, because then it's like the pressure is too much on him there.
It's just, they're so desperate to make something out of anyone that like every single interesting driver or storyline coming up through the ranks like that is Fetch. And at this point, Fetch has not happened yet. I do worry that this, but I worry that this, like you said too, that this is going to be the same damn thing. Because like, it's probably unpopular to say this, like, he's mediocre. He's a mediocre NASCAR driver.
Well,
he's running like a couple of super speedways, and then he runs like 10th in an ARCA race. Like, can you honestly say like Cleetus McFarland is going to be a championship contender one day in NASCAR? No, he's probably going to run at best in the middle of the pack.
I don't think we know that yet. I don't think how old is he? He's like 28, 30 years old. He's late 20s. Like, I mean, yeah, it's unlikely. I'll be honest. Yeah, it's unlikely he'd ever win a truck or Xfinity championship or be in contention for one. But that also, I don't know that he'd ever go full time because he has so many other business ventures. He's 30. But I don't think we know yet if he's actually, like, he might turn out to be pretty good. I just don't think we know. But that's why I'm like, oh, jumping up to trucks and you're going to be the face of this whole new OEM. I like, okay, I hope it all works out, but I'm like, that's a lot, you know?
It's just to me, and it's so, I don't think it's even lower series anymore. It's just NASCAR in general wants to gravitate towards the superstar or the movie star or the you name it, YouTube star now. They want to go towards anything except for marketing their own stars, their own drivers.
Yeah.
Like,
well, and this is sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
I mean, he's going to get more traffic than probably all but 10 Cup guys every time he races.
That's fair. And I was going to say that's part of why I was very disappointed, even though I'm not like a Kyle Larson fan, but I was very disappointed that the double went so horribly this year, because there is there's a star that's been created organically because he's really talented. He's won a ton of races at a ton of different levels and a ton of different series. Like, he has earned his place in the top level of the NASCAR Cup Series. Here he is doing this badass thing that few others are even willing to attempt. If it had gone well, that would have been a great moment. That would have been finally an organic NASCAR superstar is born. First since like Dale Jr. or Jeff Gordon and Tony Stewart in some ways. And then it didn't happen because obviously he flopped at Indy and Charlotte, and it was kind of a bummer. So that's why I was disappointed there, because you have some opportunities every now and then with a Chastain or a Larson, maybe a Hocevar in the coming months and years, to organically create superstars, but somehow, some way, they never live up to the hype. And so that leads NASCAR down this road of promoting social media superstars that maybe can drive, but we don't really know.
And the chat can answer this. Either you can't. Has there ever been really a success story in any major motorsports, sport, anything in general, where the league itself has hitched itself onto the star power of somebody from an outside coming in? Because to me, it's whether you look at motorsports, whether you look at NASCAR and its boom, F1 right now, if you look at the NFL and its sustained success, the NBA when it popped up, it's all organically grown superstars who are great at what they do, and their league recognizes that early and promotes them. Instead, we're going towards whoever looks different. I mean, that's literally what it's been. It's a Haley Deegan, Raja Carew, Garrett Mitchell, and Raja at least has organically come up through there and has shown progression.
He's not being rushed through the ranks.
No.
Is the big thing. That's
But it's like we're just looking for the different person rather than who's great and we can promote as that.
That's why I compared him to Jake Paul earlier, because I do feel like Jake Paul has in some ways revitalized boxing. At least, some of these, sure, they're gimmick fights against retired fighters and stuff, but like that's so many people tuned in for that Mike Tyson fight that it crashed Netflix. So like, I mean, that's the only comparison I could make, but boxing is a very different everything than NASCAR. So it's hard for that to be a one-to-one comparison, but
Danny,
I just want to see organic. I want to see guys earn their way up the ranks, earn their fame, earn the clout by being really good on the racetrack. And I'm not saying Cleetus can't become that one day. What he's done on his YouTube channel is already fantastic, but he hasn't proven himself in ARCA or trucks for that matter yet. So to jump headfirst in with a new OEM, as is rumored, as has been potentially reported, that just seems bold. That seems very bold. I hope it works out, but pardon me if I'm a little skeptical.
Yeah, the biggest thing I was going to say, the closest thing I can find to someone who has a similar story to Cleetus McFarland, just using their social media influence, but also their skills to make something of themselves, is a man named Ben Milliken. Now, Ben Milliken, he is an angler in the Bassmaster Elite Series, so he's at the top of the fishing game right now. But he started off just a fishing YouTuber, and he still has a huge following on there, 587,000 subscribers on YouTube. He's been doing this for years. It says he started his channel back in 2015, so 10 years, and he just was showcasing his love for bass fishing. But he never really thought that he would, in it for the longest time, he never really had any interest to get into the big leagues of fishing. But then the success came with that. More financials came in because of that, and it drove him to make a run towards it. He won one of the Bassmaster Opens a couple of years ago. He's now at the top of the fishing game, is in the Bassmaster Classic every year. That is the closest thing to what people would like to see Cleetus McFarland do. That is the closest real example of someone being like a Cleetus and making it to the top of the sport.
We can always count on Danny to break out I don't want to say obscure, but the fishing references to
There's
but it's
more.
good- it's a
There's
good
more
reference.
crossover. There's more
to tie our
crossover between the
conversation
two
together.
worlds than you'd ever expect. Watching the Earnhardt
Yeah.
documentary, it's Hank Parker right there. Talk about
That's
the
a good
Bassmaster
point.
Classics.
I mean, it is a good point to bring up because, like, that's the thing. I wouldn't have known, because all the other examples we gave are like ones that failed. So I mean, there are I guess there are at least the ones that are out there that you can actually, I guess, strive to be if you're NASCAR.
Some other people are pointing out Logan Paul. He's actually, much as you may not like him, you're not supposed to like him. He is great at his WWE character. He's better at wrestling than I expect him to be with very little experience. And he plays his heel character very well. You hate him for a reason because you're supposed to.
I hated him because I was on Vine back in the day.
Everyone has their reason.
Well, guys, that was fun, but I think we can have a little bit more fun as this goes. Let's go into our predictions and have a lot of fun. I think I kind of hinted this to the chat, I will say a little earlier, that we might have a lot of fun with this part of it. So going into the segment, if I can find it, the rules here. We'll each make 2 NASCAR, motorsports, or show-related predictions. We'll keep track of them each week in our accountability session. We'll try and keep them concise, but you never know. For me this week, nothing. Absolutely nothing. There's no predictions in here. Danny says at least one practice or qualifying session at Nashville will be rained out. That happened. You said Ross Chastain will get a top 5 in every Nashville race he's in this weekend. Did not happen.
Close.
Eric said Kyle Busch would win 3 or more of the truck races he was in 2025. He has started 4 of his 5, I think. Or I think he can't happen.
Yeah, he's like 1 for 4.
Yeah, he won Atlanta. That was it.
Instead of JGR car would lead the most laps in the Nashville Cup race. Ryan Blaney did.
They led the 2nd and 3rd most laps.
Yep.
You said AJ Allmendinger would score a top 10 at Nashville.
That was before his crew member messed with the car and they totally screwed their whole weekend before it even started.
We were all hyping him up, had good conversations in the media center, and then that all happened after everyone talked to him.
Yeah, that was tough.
So the prediction standings for this year are Danny in the lead at 32.43%.
Wow.
New leader.
Big plays.
Remember when I had single-digit percentage?
Yes, I do. I am still at 32.26. And I remember when you were at single-digit percentage because I was in the lead back then. I need to get it back. And Eric at 26.19% on the year.
I got to start driving into the paint, get some layups.
Careful, they'll go after you for a while on that one. I am at 39.84% all time. Danny at 31.29. Eric at 30.20. So we're all pretty good all time still. So Danny leads us off this week.
I'm laughing at Foolish Banana. New leader, 48 fan.
I like that. I like the name too.
All right, for my first prediction, Carson Hocevar will lead laps in both races this weekend at Michigan.
That can be a tricky one because he could run like top 3 again and not lead a lap the whole
He could
time.
lead. He leads 1 lap and it wouldn't count because you said laps. No, okay.
No, lead laps in both, meaning multiple. There's 2 races, Eric.
Just don't get beat on the wording of it. Make sure you put that in then.
Okay, let's clarify. He will lead at least 1 lap in both
Thank
races.
you. I've been reading a lot of antitrust lawsuits lately. So my
Okay, he will lead at least 1 lap in both races this weekend.
Thank you. We need everything to be very clear in writing.
All right. So I'll go next here. Eric and Danny, whichever the number it will be tied in their correct picks or predictions or whatever it is for random driver of the week by the end of the year. At the end of the year, they will be tied, whether it's 30-30, whether it's 22-22.
So neither one of us will have the lead, is what you're saying.
Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying.
You're not even taking into consideration that you might stump us and you might be tied with us too.
I think I would have to
put it in writing.
Eric get one, and then me stump you guys another 14 times to tie.
It's certainly possible.
Well, I'm not going just for the stumping because that would get really boring really quick.
I need my redemption for my Allmendinger pick this last weekend. I think that AJ Allmendinger will be a top 10 seed in the in-season tournament once that begins.
That thing is so damn confusing on how they
It
set
is.
it up.
I think it's based on your best finish the next 3 weeks, and there's a road course coming up, so I'm betting AJ is going to have a good finish there, and that's going to get him a top 10 seed. That's my bet.
Fair. Danny, you are now up for round 2. This is weird. This is a weird order now.
Yeah, I've got to go.
I don't even think I changed. Did I change it? No, I didn't even change it in the pick order. Damn.
Okay, well, here we go. At least one driver in the top 8 of the Cup Series when the playoffs start will be eliminated after the first round of the playoffs. So one Cup Series driver from the top 8 when we go in will be out by the end of the first round of playoffs.
Okay, all right.
And it's not as much of a wild card this year. So that is I respect it. I respect it a lot. Let's go out on here. Ryan Blaney will get 10 or more DNFs this year. He's had 5 so far. We have super speedways coming up. Ryan Blaney and that team find ways to
I mean, the math would suggest he'll get there, but
he may very well be my driver in the top 8.
He is on pace.
Just saying, I made the same prediction last year, I think, with who was it, Gregson or whoever the hell it was.
Bush,
thinking,
maybe?
man, I'll be able to get this one. And then I didn't. I think that, we got 22 races left. 5 of 22 is not that as egregious. He could win the championship and still get 10 DNFs. So
100%. I need a layup. This OEM has won 9 of the last 10 Michigan races. I think the Heritage Trophy stays with Ford this weekend.
I don't even know if that's as much a layup. I know they're really good there, but
no, it's not a layup at all.
Year?
Yeah, Toyota won last year.
So
I'm basically betting like Penske wins, maybe RFK, but front row's not winning.
Disrespect.
Cole Custer
Cody
Ware.
I'm sorry.
Cody Ware,
it's not
man.
happening. It's not happening.
It could rain. I mean, it could. Probably won't, but it could. So good picks, guys. That was fun. That was a lot of fun. You know what's going to be even more fun?
Nope.
If I stump you guys on random driver of the week again.
Not fun. Not
Bye,
happening.
Chad.
Bye, chat. See you in a few.
All righty. So to give you guys at home the catch up here, what?
You said give you the catch up, with the prize.
I kind of like mustard with the
Prize in the bag, Jarrett.
You can't really say that, though, because I've won 3 in a row with Hut Strickland, Jody Ridley, and Tiny Lund. Eric had Jimmy Means, and Danny had Regan Smith in the last 5. Danny leads 22-21 still. So, guys, let's get it going. This random driver was initially banned from racing as a kid by their father.
Feels like a lot. I think a lot of drivers at some point were in that
Yeah.
position.
Well, it's interesting
Which
because
makes me think that their dad did race.
Yes, that's the second clue in NASCAR. Because this random driver also is a 3rd generation driver.
I'll just say Dale Jr. to start us.
Dale Jr. Danny, that is actually, well, that is wrong.
I thought I'd just take the easy one, just get it out of the way before anyone says it.
This random driver won in all 3 of NASCAR's top series.
Oh, that would have told me it was not him because he didn't do trucks.
Kyle Petty. I don't know if he won Trucks or Xfinity, to be honest.
Eric, what the hell does Kyle Petty have to do with this?
It's he's random. That's literally the name of this segment.
but he also never ran a truck race.
Did he not? I didn't know that.
This
shot in the dark.
random driver has a 26% win percentage all time in ARCA.
William Sawalich. No, just kidding.
That's a guess.
No, just kidding.
This random driver also has won Rookie of the Year in all 3 of the top NASCAR series.
Oh.
Oh, that sounds big.
This random driver also has finished top 10 in points before in all 3 of NASCAR's top series.
Austin Dillon?
I wanted to say
Austin
that.
Dillon
Did he ever get a top 10?
is not.
Man, okay, I got to slow down.
I started thinking about his dad, Mike, and technically Richard Childress is third generation.
You baited me on that one, Jared. Dang, I'm down to one shot, right?
Hey, he got us both. We both wanted to say him. So
Okay. Oh, jeez. Okay.
This random driver has been tweeted about 3 times by me, 12
That's it?
times by Danny,
Oh,
and 51 times by Eric.
good Lord!
Sorry, I'm chronically online.
I was just about to say he's chronically online.
They must be an active driver then,
Has to be.
because I must be like live tweeting during a race or something.
Well, this random driver defended keeping NASCAR Throwback Weekend this past April.
I don't remember who was doing that.
It's funny. I wrote all these clues outside the Twitter one back in April because I knew I was like, hey, this time of year I might be pretty busy. I might not be able to look up all the clues.
Wait, sorry. Did you say they won Rookie of the Year in all 3 series?
Mhm.
I'll just say Chase Elliott.
Chase Elliott is wrong.
Okay.
This is tough.
So are we?
We're each down to 1.
Sudden death.
All right. This random driver broke Jeff Gordon's record of being the youngest driver at 13 to win in a 410 sprint car race.
Oh, I have a guess, but
I'm
it's too
funny
early.
because the
I
chat
can't.
isn't really getting it.
I think I might know it, but I can't say it because it's too early. I'm like, it's too risky. It's way too risky.
This random driver's also made 1 start in the NASCAR Canada series.
Okay. Next.
That is a bigger clue than you guys realize.
Is it really?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
bet, but I don't know.
This random driver met a current Cup driver through iRacing. They're still friends today. I love the deep in thought, and then there's me.
Oh.
You got the crickets.
I think they're still here.
I think we have literally fired all the obvious cannons, and now we're struggling.
I have a few. I might know it. Give me one more clue. I need one more clue.
This random driver was asked to lose weight before driving for his current team.
Chase Briscoe. I knew it.
Chase Briscoe.
Yeah. It was Christopher Bell, right? That he met on iRacing.
Yep.
Yeah, I heard that story sometime this year.
So JGR asked him to lose weight.
Yeah, they
He's
did.
on it,
They put
yeah.
him on a diet and made him start working out. And to be fair, he looks a lot better now.
Yeah, he's lost some weight. He looks good.
Yeah.
Good shape. Yes, I
Uh,
needed that one. That's huge.
I need to join JGR. Maybe they'll ask me to lose weight. And I'll
so
actually
just
do it.
because I said raced in NASCAR did not mean top 3 series either when it came to family members.
Okay.
Yeah, I knew his. I mean, his dad owned a sprint car team. I don't know anything else about his. You said third generation.
So I was right to say a Chase name. Just forgot the other one.
One of the last clues was this driver won Toyota their first Daytona 500 pole. Let's see. What are some of the other good ones I had in here?
Beat Kyle Busch at Darlington.
I put that Darlington had 2 career defining wins at Darlington, beating Kyle Busch.
It's Kyle Busch.
Here's the thing. So I want to list them off because of the numbers and the OEMs.
Yeah. that's so cruel.
The OEMs were Ford, Toyota, and Dodge. Never Chevy from what I see. And then
it was like 2 or 3 clues ago. I was like, I think it's Chase Briscoe, and then I was like, but wait, he was never top 10 in Cup points. And I was like, no, wait, yeah, he was. He made it to the round of 8 that one year, and then I was like, that has to be him.
Crazy thing is, I'm looking at a picture of Chase Briscoe from last year. He don't even look like he needed to lose weight.
It didn't look that bad. Can you imagine though? It's like, oh, you just got this job of a lifetime, awesome job. Your wife's pregnant with twins, and they're like, okay, on top of all this other shit you're doing, Your fat ass needs to get into the gym.
Okay, fatty. Delete DoorDash.
Damn.
That is not a Joe Gibbs Racing sponsorship. Get rid of it.
God.
We need you to start hunting and eat only deer meat. Lose some weight.
And you know, while you're at it, just in case this is too much for you, like you should probably be insured by Progressive just in case like you crash on the way to the Bass Pro. But the numbers were 04, 07, 1, 14, 19, 22, 27, 29, 60, 77, 98. Those were the numbers.
Yeah, a lot of BK Racing and Stuart Haas.
Yeah, that's good.
And Lord knows when he was at JGR, he didn't.
They even tried to give him the Subway sponsorship and everything, man. It failed.
Yeah, he left the whole damn team after that. So that was a lot of fun.
They gave him one hint at losing weight. Here's Subway. Get out of here. Give me Burger King.
So to end the segment here, Danny and Eric now tied at 22 apiece. My streak of stumping them has ended. I'm still tied with the guests 6-6. So a lot of fun.
Nice.
Oh, that was a lot of fun. Let's head on over to Michigan. No sleep till Brooklyn on this one.
Down.
I love that
Down.
song, man.
Down.
No sleep till Brooklyn. You know, I don't know if they still do it because it's been a minute since I've been at Michigan. But I know when I was a kid back in the day, they used that song as like the pace lap song. And it was a vibe, man. It was a vibe. Cool. So Michigan this week, a few notes. There are no open entries for the Cup race. So 36 car field, 32 for trucks, Hocevar in the 7 for Spire, LaJoy in the 07 for Spire as well, and Chastain with Nice in the 44. So pretty heavy hitters in the truck race. Truck race is the DQS Solutions and Staffing 200, 125 laps, 30, 30, 65 the stages, 12 p.m. noon Eastern time.
Yeah, I saw that and I had to do a double take.
I'm just saying, we got to say the word this week.
The what word, Jarrett?
The N word.
No, don't say it.
Noon. Noon, baby. Let's just make that a damn meme.
I don't know about that. Let's
push the boundaries of the internet. If you've been on Instagram, you'd realize why this probably isn't pushing it that far.
Don't look at Instagram.
What's happening on Instagram?
There's pictures of cats.
Book
Yes,
burnings. That's what Instagram's like. There's plenty of just.
What did I? What's okay? We'll talk after the show. What did I miss?
Find the side of Instagram that they don't want known. It's a cesspool there, but it's so funny. Most messed up ways. As long as you have a dark sense of humor, you'll make it over there. Fox.
It's the app I least expected to end up like that, but it's there.
I know that's the funniest part. Fox is where the channel what it will be on the Fox Sports app as well. But Big Fox. So there will be probably 1 million or so viewers that are cursed with having to listen to Jamie Little commentator race. Yay. But hey, it'll also be on NRN and Sirius XM, 77 degrees, cloudy, 12% chance of rain. Defending winner of this race, which is the last time they raced trucks at Michigan, Zane Smith, all the way back in 2020.
Wow, it's been that long. I didn't realize.
Yeah. Croissant. The Cup race, the Firekeepers Casino 400, 200 laps, 45, 75, and 80 laps, 2 p.m. Eastern time start on Prime. MRN will also have the radio coverage at Sirius XM. 77 again, partly cloudy, maybe a possible sprinkles here and there, showers, small ones like that, but 24% chance of rain. So looking good for now. Tyler Reddick, your defending winner. And when it comes to the pick points, guys, it's getting closer.
Had a rough week.
Eric at 246 still has the lead by 3 points over moi. Then Danny minus 19, closing a little bit, and Chat minus 27. So we're slowly getting the accordion back together.
Chat is still riding his basement boys.
Yes, they are. And they're doing a great job doing that. So that will lead us straight on into the picks. Who is going to win the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series race at Michigan this weekend? Chat, lead us off.
We're about to see one number just fly up here. I bet I know which one it is.
07.
Let's go, chat.
Yeah, they're going to Heim. That's pretty obvious.
Yeah, I kind of figured it was going to be Heim time for him.
So with that being said,
Ross Crashtain is the only person picking Chastain.
with that being said, give me the local Carson Hocevar.
I knew that's where you were going to go with that one too. So that gives me my number 3 pick, and that will be
Do it.
Ross Chastain.
Oh, was not even on my board. Wow.
I'll take the Cup guy.
I'm going to make a prediction. Eric's going to take the 34.
Yeah, Lane Riggs.
Lane Riggs has been like our cleanup candidate.
I just don't know that
That counts as a prediction. Write it down, Jarrett.
I just don't know that I trust the niche truck to be like trimmed out enough to have the horsepower. I guess they're all running the same engines, but whatever. Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, I'll go with Riggs.
All right. Who's going to suck in the Cup race?
What do you think, chat? Who sucks?
See one for Hocevar. Denny Hamster, who's still on baby watch
Okay,
as of
here they
now.
come. Big mix of people.
There is no clear consensus here.
The
Hey,
most
cool.
consistent I'm seeing is the 6.
Yeah, maybe Brad.
The plans I was telling you about before the show tonight? Noon. Let's go.
Oh,
Sorry. I'll be busy at noon tomorrow.
yeah. Me and a chat are agreeing. I'm also saying Brad to suck.
He has an 8th place average finish at Michigan the last 3 years.
I know, but this season, man.
Well, when it comes to the suck pick, when in doubt, stick with the cold hand, and that is Alex Bowman. He's not very good here in the next gen era, and he's been on a rough patch.
That's fair. Does Ally still have a big sponsorship at this track? Is he gonna embarrass him here?
That's why he crashed this past week. It was actually in protest of Ally leaving.
I have Ty Gibbs. After he kind of turned his season around for a few weeks, he's kind of been ass for like a month.
Yeah.
Like he's not good. It's not going well.
No bueno.
Cheeks.
All right. Who is our dark horse, underdog, you name it, candidate this week? What we got, chat?
A lot of 7-7s.
I think it's going to be 7-7 then.
Yep, they're taking Carson Hocevar as their underdog. Well, actually, Eric, Ty Gibbs has an average finish of 8.0 in 3 races here. He is my underdog.
I'm going to stick with the chat on this one, Hocevar.
I was actually surprised. Ty Gibbs has had 1 top 5 and 2 top 10s over his last 3 races here, and he's got an average finish of 8.
He was 3rd last year. That's fair.
And he has led laps in each one of his starts here. But I'm going Hocevar for mine.
Wow. All right. My pick now. I have as my dark horse pick someone who I was thinking of earlier, and now I've forgotten. Eric Jones. Eric Jones.
Someone who drives
in
the Cup Series.
Jones is, I think his average finish is like 12th or 13th here in the next gen and had a good run at Nashville. Legacy seems to be figuring it out a little bit.
You know who also have a good run? The winner. And let's predict who that's going to be. Who will win the Firekeepers Casino 400? They love their casinos here.
Who do you guys think, chat? Who's going to win?
So this is the thing on the StreamYard side, the chat moves slower, so I actually can't see as much as I can see on.
I've seen a fair amount of 5. I've also seen a fair amount of 23s.
Yeah, see, I can't tell if the 23s are coming from the same 2 people, but no, there's a good amount of 23s. I think 5, 4.
I'm also seeing 22.
Man, it's all over the place. I think there's most 5s, but it's like
There's some 45s too.
And 12. I feel like 5, 12, 23. If you're going to pull, that's the 3 to do.
5, 12, 23.
Mm-hmm.
All right. 5, 12, 23. So, hey, one from each OEM.
fitting.
All right. Poll going up now. Watch, it's like 33 each way.
Please.
Oh.
It's definitely not 33. It's 33 one way.
That's what I'm about to say. It's looking pretty good for the 12 being the third. All right. It's looking like they're going Larson. If we end it, let's see if they don't have a comeback right at the end. It's going to be, oh la la. It's going to be Larson.
La la. Okay. I don't even know why I put him on my board. I knew someone was taking him.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's funny.
So you got Danny.
Why'd you guys waste him on your underdog pick? Carson Hosfar is going to win this weekend.
No
my
way.
God.
You were actually doing it.
I'm actually doing it.
The madman.
I'm kind of glad you did it, Danny, because I was like 50-50 on doing it, and now I don't have to like put myself out
I
there.
really hope I don't regret not taking the other one I had as my backup in case the chat somehow decided to do him instead.
Well, I'll go with my number 2 pick, and that is 2 weeks in a row for me getting old Dennis the Menace, Denny Hamlin.
Oh,
That's who I had in case the chat decided to take Carson, but I'm going all in on Carson.
Wow. All right. Yeah, I know you took some pressure off me there, Danny, because I wasn't sure if I was going to have to do it this week. Instead, I will go with someone who has had reliable speed all season long, back-to-back dubs for Ryan Blaney.
I already know a certain driver on the iRacing side I know who is going to both love and hate picks from this with the Blaney and host of our side of things. Damn. You can't say we don't pick new people then. Good on you, Danny.
Yeah. Hey, ride while the iron's hot. It's definitely hot right now.
Very much so.
Is that the saying?
Let's get to the final super chat stage break. How about that? Where do we? I think we Bailey is the next one up here. Who says, remember when LaJoy could have had the 19 truck that's second in points, but decided to pick a team outside of Carruth that's wildly inconsistent?
That's funny. That's
Pepperidge
funny looking
Farms
back on it.
remembers.
At least we'll give him credit. He's doing TV. So maybe he saw like Prime videos like, oh, this is a way to launch my TV career. And couldn't
I wonder
pass
how
it up.
this looks. I know they're doing white flags in the chat, but it's different on StreamYard. So it looks like it's just like a bunch of scribbles. I know they're white flags, but it's interesting.
I still see it.
So there's SW's right here who says LaJoy back in Spire for the scheduled truck racing, but that's pretty sad when he made an AI generated post of fans to look like he has fans. Damn.
Yeah, no, that was a AI aside, the fact that he had to basically fake a photo of him having fans is such a bad look. Like, how do you not realize that's going to open yourself up to so many
were there 12
dunks? What?
Were there 12? Because it might be a self-aware joke.
Oh, maybe if there were 12 fans, that would be funny. Okay, fair.
Let me actually look up. Like there is ways to have fun with AI. I know some people hate it, but you can really have fun. But let's see how many fans.
It was 11. They said it was 11 in the
1,
chat.
2,
That
3,
might actually
4,
be a
5,
good
6,
self-aware
7,
joke.
8, 9, 10, 11. Yep, there's 11 fans.
You know what? I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt because I do think he gets a little overhated now. Probably a lot of overhated. I honestly think that might be just a really good joke.
Maybe, but the fact that it wasn't 12 though,
I think that makes it even funnier. Like
But I
the
don't know
12
that it was
people are there, not
intentional.
all of them are even there for him.
I don't think it was intentional. I don't know. It was a little cringe. I like Corey. It was cringe.
Side note: I wonder if I can find a way to flip a truck this year.
If there anyone could, it's probably him. Atmos here says, what makes a track rebrand successful? Always call California Auto Club, Sonoma sometimes Infineon. I'll never call Atlanta Echo Park.
I guess that's be longevity, really.
It's a good litmus test for it. And I'm probably never going to call it that.
It just would have made more sense in Texas because I know Echo Park is from Texas.
Let's see. Fred Dog for the 10. Does Chase worry you more as a so-called fourth driver than Gibbs, owner's grandson, but well out of playoffs, regressing in third year, and third driver in Briscoe pulling away and showing much improvement? So I think at least for me, I had said that, Chase Elliott, my worry isn't that he's not good. My worry is he's not good enough to where I think he should be. He's in purgatory. Ty Gibbs, cover your ears. If you're listening, man, you're in hell right now. Like, it's not going good. You are not in purgatory. You do not collect $200. It is very rough for you. I think those two are in such the Ty Gibbs one. The thing is, like, both these drivers are probably the safest seats in the series. Like, you got the owner is your grandfather, and you're the most popular driver who, in your bad year, is still doing better than probably 70% of the garage's good years. Their tires are blowing out. No, so I think it's kind of apples to oranges, but I understand the comparison.
No, I mean, yeah, Ty Gibbs, if his name was anything else, he would be on the hottest seat imaginable. And like we'd be calling for his ride. We're just not wasting our breath because of what Jarrett just said.
Yeah.
Yep.
Cavs fan says, is Chase a generational talent? I don't understand why people say he's washed. He's fourth in points. Also, is the crew chief responsible for making the car have speed, or is it how Chase drives it? So I don't think we said he's washed. I know a lot of people have.
Chat. Some people in the chat maybe did. I think I saw that earlier, but that's just the chat being the chat.
I've seen it on social media too, and I'm just like, yes, he's fourth in points. If consistency mattered a lot more, I don't think this conversation would be had. But it's the way that the sport is right now. Like, being 5th to 15th every week does not really do it. But yeah, I think the crew chief has a lot of responsibility. But I think the way Chase drives it is why he struggles on restarts, and it's a huge blank spot in his weapons catalog, I guess. I don't know the right way to say that. Steven with the 5 years says, in my opinion, I feel like Hocevar gets the seat Hamlin leaves at JGR. Likely also being the 18 again, because Hamlin will take the 11 to 23-11. I thought I saw this week that
I think that's wishful thinking. I don't think that they would get Hocevar.
And I thought I saw this weekend that Hamlin's likely to sign an extension for another year.
I think he's going to stay there. I don't see him going to his own car.
Yeah, he's staying with Gibbs at least through next year. Probably, my guess is he'll sign a 2-year deal, and then that could be it. That's my guess.
Now, he didn't necessarily put a time on that. It could be for the future.
I think the one we should more question about it, Toyota, is where the hell was Martin Truex Jr.'s extra starts that they were saying before the year?
Okay, so
we haven't heard from him since Daytona, right?
So let's see here. I'm gonna spoil some things here. I was told by our contact at JGR, if he was to do anything, JGR didn't put out the Cup car. That was technically Tricon. So it wouldn't necessarily be anything JGR sets up if he wanted to do some Cup. But the thing is, I was told they are fully sold out on all of their Xfinity cars for basically the next 2 years, is what I was told. So if he was going to do anything in Xfinity, it would have to be Sam Hunt Racing.
His brother has raced for Sam Hunt. Maybe they share a ride. I don't know. Why on earth would Martin Truex Jr. want to come back and run 15th in the Xfinity Series, though, even for 1 week? There's no reason he would do that.
I just found it funny because, like, the whole talk of of him retiring is like, Joe Gibbs, you're always welcome back unless we sold everything out. Then if that's the case, go fishing, Martin.
I would say it could be the first NASCAR champion to also win a Bassmaster Classic. Hank Parker could never do that.
Don't give him ideas, Danny, because he might actually do it. Carl Singleton with the 5 says, the 1998 Daytona 500 has recently turned into a way to motivate me to stop myself from becoming an incel. Okay, good for you, man. Whatever works. Garabuki with the 10 says, I can't stand Heim, but I can't wait for him to get to Cup so we can witness the Hocevar versus Heim rivalry weekly.
That will be good.
Carson is just an automatic storyline that makes every race more interesting.
I agree, because the Gibbs-Gregson rivalry has not lived up to any of the hype, so we need a second chance.
Justin Drake with the 20 says, this episode of NWP is sponsored by Eric's McDonald's Wi-Fi, always as bad as the milkshake machines are broke.
Hey, my internet was acting like that too, so...
Am I the only one that's also doesn't have an Ethernet cable in my setup right
now?
now?
No, that's the crazy thing. An Ethernet is going directly into this computer.
Steven with another 5 here says, remember when we used to dread the summer with Michigan, Pocono, Kentucky, but now we look forward to it with Nashville and Kentucky's place. Fair.
Wild.
I look forward much more to the summer now than I used to. I will admit, for the longest time, the summer would come up until they started changing up the schedule, and I was like, ugh. We got Pocono.
The problem is we had two Poconos and 2 Michigans and 2 New Hampshires, and oh my gosh.
And I'm looking forward to TNT coverage this year, but TNT coverage back in the day was like, once you get past the hype of TNT, it was like, oh, we're on TNT.
It really was. Oh yeah, it really was like that, honestly. Let's see. Logan here says, I could have been downforted, but apparently NASCAR only has Sunday of the Mexico race to get it in and can't postpone it a week if needed for any reason. I don't know if that's the case. It might have been a downforted thing.
That sounds like a downforted thing.
I could believe it. I know there was real pressure on Chicago, that street race, to get it in day of. Luckily Mexico City's a road course, so chances are they will be able to get the race in even with some weather.
Logan also says we'll be in Wallach.
Will be in the Wallach. That's his nickname. That's his nickname.
For Wallach. Okay.
Clever but cruel.
Oh my gosh, I'm laughing at this most recent super chat.
That's so mean.
Damn, chat.
Let's see. Sean here says, just had nose surgery for my deviated septum. Thanks for the show and keeping my mind off it. No problem, man. Whatever we can do, and I hope you're feeling better.
We also have to keep your mind off being a Cowboys fan.
Then the pain starts rolling back in. Milo here with the 23 Canadian says, what a great way to celebrate my birthday, NWP. Also, if Heim doesn't win the title this year, we riot.
Happy birthday.
And yes, happy birthday. Let's see some birthday cakes and happy birthdays spammed in the chat. Make sure Milo has a great day and knows we're all wishing him a happy birthday.
Do you pronounce that Milo or Milo? I've heard it both ways.
I think it can go both ways. Milo's the one I hear more often.
Milo is usually more Hispanic, and that's Canadian. I don't think he's that.
Either way, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm very bad at getting names right, and I like to get them right when I can. Ross Crash Stain says, I can't wait to drive from Echo Park Speedway to the Gulf of America and post it on X. Said no one ever. Oh, man. Hunter Nixon Fishing for the 10 says, what's really wrong with Chase Elliott is they got away from his 2022 scheme, which was far and away his best, and every year has gotten worse. Since I will say that scheme, I have the die cast of that right off screen. That scheme's hot.
The 22 scheme was really good. I've liked most of his schemes since then as well, but yeah, the 22 was really good.
I will say I still miss when he was the 24, specifically the 2017 one had that touch of yellow on it, but something about the random red and light blue striping on there was like, that's just an interesting touch.
It worked. It worked. Let's see. Pat here says, for the 5, when I started to watch in 2001, I thought Lowe's Motor Speedway and Sears Point were literally in those stores' parking lots. Then I watched the races.
That's
like,
oh my gosh, that's a big Lowe's.
It's the superstore. So you know what's really funny is there's probably really young kids that are watching this. They're probably like, Mommy, Daddy, what's a Sears?
I'll raise my hand. I don't know if I've ever been to a Sears. I know what it is, but
Well, so I used to live in the town I grew up in. The first place I grew up in, there was a mall that was right nearby, and there was a Sears in
Every
there. And I
Sears
remember
is a
going
mall,
in.
it feels like.
Yeah, I just remember going in there when I was like a little kid, and now I go past there, and it's so fitting. The entire mall around that area is empty except for like one store. Speedway Anywhere says for the 10, Cleetus needs to figure out who he is NASCAR wise. He has a Ford main event, Chevy shipped pool, heavy brand. That much won't help him in NASCAR.
he's just playing the field, seeing what's out there, putting feelers out.
So fun fact, even though they're not a national brand anymore, there is actually a small few Sears locations that are still open. I know of one in Middlesboro, Kentucky. I'm actually looking at it on Google Maps right now. They allowed people to independently still keep using the Sears name, but they would just be like little, like just small like hardware stores basically.
See, Sears fits into that bin with Kmart. Remember when we did that show and I was sitting outside of Kmart?
Yep.
R.I.P. It was like one of the last 5 Kmarts in America. Justin Drake says Eric is describing Natalie Decker. Sure, she has a lot of followers, but she couldn't drive a truck to save her life. Case in point, spinning herself on the front of a tow truck at Bristol after ignoring her spotter. That was one of the craziest moments I've ever witnessed in person.
NASCAR Nixon should have at least left us that one.
Yes. Oh my! If somebody has that archive, please post that, because that was just comedy gold. Much better than probably anything Big Mouth has made. Justin also says Jake Paul seeing a crippled grandpa at the retirement home. Finally, a worthy opponent. Our battle will be legendary. I'm just thinking of the guy from SpongeBob. I love the young people.
By the way, I hate to just interrupt the show of random stuff here, but Jared, I sent you something on Twitter. You can see it later. So apparently Madden 26 is going to have some better touches of reality in it. And they actually have Randy Moss doing the Vikings pregame horn.
Oh, hell yeah. Hell yeah. That's awesome.
You can look at that on Twitter later. That's actually really cool. So I needed to tell you that in person.
Well, and too, after what he went through and his recovery from cancer and all, like I love the love that Randy's getting. Love Randy Moss. The super freak. He's a freak in nature. Let's see. Forecast here says forecast 44-39 for the 5 says Ross Chastain will win the championship and boy Ty Gibbs and Carson Hocevar will win a race.
I'm actually more interested to see if hopefully Hocevar wins this weekend for my sake, but I'm curious if he can actually win before Ty Gibbs.
Honestly, a couple of years ago, I would have thought that Ty Gibbs would have had a good amount of wins by now. That's the crazy part. Let's see. Hunter Nixon Fishing here says the reason I can't get behind Cleetus and his brand is the persona is the stereotypical image of what a non-NASCAR fan sees: rednecks turning left.
That's fair.
I get why people would,
but
that's why I hate Talladega Nights.
Yeah, it is a very much a Talladega Nights type shtick. I think it helps knowing that he's done a lot of good things off the track, that he seems like a good dude. But yeah, sure, the character is not going to be for everyone. I get that.
Sorry, I just heard something weird. I don't know if it's like the TV on the other side of this wall or something outside of my apartment.
No, I thought I heard something too. It was like, was there an earthquake or something?
Not here. Was it like kind of a little somewhat higher pitched?
No, it was like some slight rumbling is what I heard.
Yeah, that wasn't it then on my end. Speedway Anywhere for the 2 says, did I tell you I finally bought Hocevar gear? You didn't, but you did now. Congratulations.
I nearly decided to buy a Ziegler shirt this weekend, but I decided against it.
I saw a lot of people I saw a lot of people at the track this weekend in the Chili's shirt. He's got some pretty cool looking merch.
Well, I saw the Chili shirt, but I didn't like that one because the way they've made it, it looks like it's been through the dryer, like it's already cracked.
Yeah, it's like worn looking. It's a vibe, but I just saw a lot of people wearing it this weekend.
Uh, James Killer says 5 for the Dave Marcus mentioned last week. Hell yeah. I love it. Thank you.
Driver of the Olive Garden car.
Bailey for the 5 says Chase Briscoe leaning into his idol Tony's diet too much. Damn.
Meanwhile, Bubba Wallace has been sponsored by McDonald's and DoorDash.
He DoorDashed his McDonald's.
And Dr. Pepper.
And Dr. Pepper, yes.
And Wheaties.
Damn, he's had a lot of food sponsorships.
He still stays in pretty good shape, honestly, though.
Yeah, honestly. Bruce Morgan says Chase and Allen are comfortable with mediocrity. I heard that like Chase got out of the car and like slammed his hands or slammed like something into the car and stormed off after the race.
That can't be true. He can't have emotion. But no, I wouldn't have seen it because he wasn't near the front enough for me to be around to see it.
Yeah, I was up standing where the front runners were parked.
Damn. Ross Crash Stain says, since it's trending, my favorite ethical wheel moment.
I don't know where that came from.
I saw that hashtag right before we went live, and I'm trying to figure, is it just like clean racing? Like, oh, that was a really sportsman-like battle. Like, what is ethical wheel mean?
NWP, soon to be sponsored by Urban Dictionary.
I thought the clip I saw made me think it was like, oh, here's a moment of two racers racing with a ton of respect. That was very ethical wheel. I would nominate the battle this weekend between Blaney, Hamlin, and Byron for a while at the end of stage 2. That was very ethical wheel.
Then I'll say Chastain and Almirola. They may have both lied to my face, but they both told me that they had fun racing each other at the end.
Danny is just like pinpointed on that Xfinity moment for 5th.
It was a good battle. I enjoyed it. And at the time, I thought it was getting me closer to a prediction.
Grid flow here for the 2 says, do you think Chase will retire soon? He looks bored. No. And I remember as a Dale Jr. fan.
He just lost all the weight. Why would he retire from JGR already, guys? I mean, come on.
I will say, I remember as a junior fan, everyone saying Dale Jr. didn't care when he started to struggle. And I think it's one of the more tired storylines. U.S. Forest Service Sasquatch Department says, is Chase's ride safe? If so, what was Chad talking with Carson for? Rumor is replacement for Chase?
Chad was congratulating him on a good finish. That was in front of us. That's what happened.
Levi Johnson talked NASCAR says, what do you think of Mansfield? Yeah, I don't know if you guys saw, but former owner, driver, and technically partner of the show, Matt Tift, bought Mansfield and is going to be basically renovating it and revitalizing it, starting with dirt for a couple years. I watched this video. It was part of the video I made today because I want more people to know about it. But he's going to put dirt on it to start with, and then aiming to have asphalt on the track soon. So I think it's awesome. The more racetracks we bring back, the better.
It's safe to assume a lot of the profit he made from the Live Fast charter sale is probably helping go towards this, I would imagine.
Yeah, it has to. Let's see. Pat here, of course, talking about Briscoe's weight loss as his hair. That's just so mean.
That's brutal. Come on, Chad.
And Forecast asking, is Hocevar the new Kyle Busch?
I mean, early on in Kyle Busch's career, when you're unsure what he's going to become, sure.
Yeah, but Busch was in a top car early in his Cup career, and he won his rookie season. I feel like Hocevar is more like Larson in that he's at a second-tier Chevy team, really fast, not really refined.
That's fair.
Yeah, the thing with Kyle Busch, the personality of Kyle Busch is just unmatched. And I think to be a Kyle Busch comparison, you have to have a similar enough personality, and Hocevar doesn't have that.
But if we're already comparing Carson Hocevar to Kyle Larson, I mean, that says a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Ross Crash Stain says, ironically, Kevin Hamlin spotted for Decker and now spots for Cleetus.
Interesting.
Ironic. Justin Drake says, what does a Ty Gibbs fan have to do, Ty Gibbs fan do after seeing Ty Gibbs win a Cup race? Turn off the Xbox. It's funny when it's somebody else's fan base getting it, not me.
There's so many fan bases are down bad in this show. Elliott fans, Ty Gibbs fans, it's just never ending.
Fred Dog says, congrats on the second place driver winning Michigan after NASCAR DQ surprise winner Keselowski to go full burned bridge with Michigan fans. Jupiter Rain asking finals predictions and wishing happy Pride. Who's in the finals?
Thunder and Pacers. I think Thunder got it, but Pacers are a fun story. Sorry, David Land, if you're listening.
The only one I really cared about was I saw like the Timberwolves made it a while ways, and I know a lot of Minnesota people, so I was like, I hope they win. They didn't.
I'm gonna go with the Thunder as well. If Caitlin Clark can get back to healthy, maybe y'all can get it with the Fever this year, though.
I'll just be different and say Pacers. I don't know enough about the NBA. Levi Johnson says, Eric, what happened to the NASCAR bumper?
Oh, my Sunny D bumper. It's in the garage downstairs. I don't have enough room in here for it, unfortunately.
He's finally had enough of Stenhouse. He can't stand it.
No, I still have it in my garage. I need room. I have a few cool sheet metal pieces in my garage that just would take up too much space in this smaller setup.
You still got the hood, right? The one with your face on it?
I have a giant DeWalt hood from Eric
wait, no, I got it confused. I thought you had that.
And then I have a bumper from when Brennan Poole drove the Out of the Groove car. I have that bumper, but that's actually, I don't have it here. That's in Florida. Someone I know is keeping that for me because I got it when I was in Florida and I had no way to transport it back to Texas at the time. So it's still in Florida. Eventually I got to pick that up. And then, I have the Sunny D Stenhouse bumper that looks super awesome, but there's just no space for it.
I may or may not be driving to Florida at some point. Maybe I could bring it back in the truck and you could get it from Nashville.
But then I have to drive to Nashville, which I guess it's more likely I would drive to Nashville.
It's definitely an easier drive to me than it is to drive to Florida.
It's just slowly but surely. Then maybe I have relatives in Memphis that'll pick it up, and then I know some people in Oklahoma that'll pick it up, and so it's eventually it's just gonna work its way to Texas, and I'll be able to go get it.
Let's just meet in Little Rock, and we'll all call it even.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Well, that was fun. Every segment's a fun segment on here, and we'll have a lot of fun next week on Eric's channel, June 11th at 8 p.m. Eastern time. Gonna be a lot of fun. All right, Michigan's coming up this week. Cannot wait. All righty. Well, everybody, enjoy your night.
Thanks for watching.
Have a good one.
Appreciate y'all.
I hope my pick is better than yours. I don't know. Bye.
Go host the bar.
Started off right, pal. Right on, come on.
Get outside. Three wide.
Unbelievable!
Where you playing? We're going. I like the aggression. Let me drop the green car.
You can go tell all those guys up there they can suck it.
What we're about to do is not a good idea.
All good. What is he doing?
You gotta be kidding me.
Half the pack is flying apart!
It's so nice to
See you at the line.
Oh, pack of cars come piling in as well!
Jump. Coming white. Hello. Come back, caught him.
That was incredible.